Gather round me, children, I'll tell you the news. Don't worry about the names or dates, you already know it's true. The doctor hates your baby, the prime minister's a ghost, and all them folks are sailing here 'cause they're in love with boats. Superfoods can save us from all our evil sin. JFK and Elvis own a bar in Wisconsin. And vaccinations were created by the CIA to steal votes from Bernie Sanders and turn your babies gay. So click the link you think you like and get tooled for a fight against those lefty fascist communists who are leaning too far right.
Hi and welcome to Not Another Fake Newscast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Jerry.
So it's been a long time. Since we've been away. Full disclosure, because that's what we do here. So we had a family bereavement. My father passed, a couple of other things. I had to take over his company and the likes. Not long for any sorrow or any emails or anything like that. It's just to say that that's the reason I've not really been involved in social media. I've not been involved in the Discord. We've not really been recording episodes for the most part. We've just been busy dealing with family stuff.
Yeah. And sort of the few people that I've told who are fans of the show, it's made me realise that not everybody knows that we're cousins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a weird thing. I just assumed that everybody did. So yeah, me and Paul are cousins. So yeah, his dad's obviously my uncle, my dad's brother. So it's been shit for us all, but obviously particularly shit for Paul.
Yeah. So the last month and a half ish has been it's been a dark time in my life, but it just means that we've just not been able to put in what we should be able to put into the show. We apologise for that, and we should be back on track now. I say that, but we're just about to go into Christmas where we're not going to be about either. So, but the other side of Christmas, we're definitely going to be back up on target again.
Yeah, we've got some big plans for 2019. We've got some great ideas for deep dive episodes. We've got some really fantastic guests lined up for interviews and stuff as well, so we're hoping that 2019 is going to be a big year for us and a big year for you guys as listeners. We're hoping to give you lots of really brilliant content.
Another awesome. So there we go.
Sorry, Paul's L. We're gonna have to. That's it. In the episode.
I also.
I've
also just had a stroke. So what I was actually going to say is we've also secured another awesome sponsor. We're actually using a new sound, right? So I'll let you in behind the fucking curtain here. We're using a new sound setup from what we used before. So now our sound is split between left and right, and it's really difficult to get used to because I can hear me talking on my left hand.
It won't be split between left and right for them.
No, because it's mixed down into a mono channel. Now. So for us, the way we record, because we're coming through in our split channels, so it now means that I can hear me talking on my left ear, and then when Jerry talks, I can hear him talking on my right ear, and it's slightly off-putting when I'm trying to think.
Better get used to it.
I know, fuck. So yes, we have an awesome sponsor, Project Lingerie. Now, I know what you're thinking.
They don't make chemical weapons.
They do. I don't know if that's what they were thinking.
Oh,
well,
no?
They do make. They actually don't make either. I was going to fucking lie. I was going to say they make cracking lingerie, but that's not the case. What they do is, it's a subscription service. So there's actually two parts to it. There's Project Lingerie and there's actually Project Boxers. Which, so me and Jerry have got Project
You get
Boxers.
Boxer Dugs.
You get Boxer Dugs delivered to you in lingerie.
Which is just how I like my Boxer Dugs.
No, but in all seriousness, they deliver you. So it's a monthly subscription. It costs very little a month, and they send you a pretty box that's got for women nice lingerie, thongs and boxers and pants and nice boxers. You get women boxers.
Do you?
You're so out of touch, Jerry.
That lassie won the gold medal for the
I don't think they deliver her your post.
I hope no. She's not gonna fuck at me.
So you've got that's for women, and for guys you get boxers. You actually might get different types of boxers. I'm not really sure because I've not checked into that, but they're quality. We've had them. They've sent us them. I've had ones delivered for my ex, and so we've But yeah, so they're pleasant. It's actually the other thing as well.
I found my crotch or Snickers extremely uncomfortable, to be honest with you, Paul.
Just kicking about in jeans with your testicles hanging out.
No, in all seriousness, they were like sloggy. I think they were called sloggy boxers. They're dead comfy.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I was in mind the other day, just thinking to myself, man, I should get myself
But
more of these.
it's quite a good thing to get involved in if you like want to, send a little sexy gift to your missus every
Once
month.
a month. I mean, so the other thing as well is they donate money to charity.
Or not your missus.
If you
Whatever you're into.
If you want to deliver it to somebody else, but you don't want your missus to find out you're ordering it, then you can go. I mean, I'm not suggesting that's what you should do.
No.
But you can.
What you should do is work in your marriage. You
For
cheating
fuck-
bastard.
What's your fucking problem? No, but in all seriousness, they're really nice. Actually, the woman who runs it is a particularly pleasant human being. I've got a lot of time for her.
So are we offering any kind of discount or something like
Yeah,
that?
so if you use the voucher code GIFT, you'll get 10% off your first order.
That's GIFT.
That's GIFT, as opposed to like GIF, GIF.
Yeah, just like if you use the voucher code Will Ferrell said Scotchy Scotch and Anchorman, then
Then that'll no work. No, but so the voucher code GIFT, and that'll get you 10% off. And honestly, it only costs about £15 a month, and it's a particularly nice present for someone to get.
So that's that done, right? We've done the announcement.
Social media.
We are Not Another Fake Newscast, and as always, we are available on our website, www.notanotherfakenewscast.com.
We're on social media, on Twitter and Facebook at pgmcast.com. No, you don't need that .com. Man,
Just
it's been
at
so
PGMcast.
difficult. At PGM. Oh, I'm so broken.
And if you are interested in donating towards the show and helping us grow the show and make it better, then patreon.com/pgmcast. For as little as $1 a month, you can contribute towards the running of the show and upgrades to equipment and new projects and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a roundup episode. It's a roundup episode we're doing.
So it's nice and relaxed. It's not a deep dive episode. We've got some deep dive episodes planned for the coming of the new year.
Some real good ones.
Yeah, real good ones. And then some terrible ones.
Yeah, but
just because we want to keep you in your
see if
toes.
you can guess which one's which, right? So I mean, I guess the elephant in the room right now is
me, but I'm working on my way, you horrible prick.
Fuck off.
To be honest, that cut deep, Jerry. I've been really fucking. I'm in a bad enough place.
I think you're looking pretty good, man.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, it turns out stress, no eating, and did lots of drinking really helps shed the pounds.
Yeah. The elephant in the room that I was talking about was Brexit. Actually,
It's an absolute nightmare, Jerry.
and the withdrawal bill and everything. That's
And the
gonna happen
withdrawal
off
of the
back.
withdrawal bill.
Yeah. So I mean, as we record, it's 9:00 in the evening of Monday,
The 10th.
the 10th of December. So we were supposed to be having a vote on the withdrawal bill in the Commons tomorrow, but Theresa May today announced that was no longer going to be
A
happening.
few hours ago.
Yeah, and it's postponed. But we don't have a date for when they're going to redo the vote. There was a big debate in the Commons today. I mean, not enough of a debate if you ask me, but essentially like John Bercow and a few other prominent politicians were making the point that, well, when we passed the motion for the withdrawal bill and the debate on the withdrawal bill and the vote on the withdrawal bill a couple of weeks ago, there were very definitive dates and timelines put in place, and that was voted through Parliament. So if that's being pulled off the table, why are you allowed to just do that unilaterally? Surely it should be up to the Commons to vote on whether they're postponing the vote.
I suppose the argument would be that the Tory party have been very interested for a long time to use companies like Carillion, and they're right good at changing their fucking timelines and schedules all over the place. So it's standard practice for them.
Yeah. So as it stands, we don't know
Oh,
exactly.
wait, what was the mic drop moment?
Oh, Peter Kyle. This was my favourite quote of the debate today was when Peter Kyle, one of the Labour backbenchers, said, "Surely no Prime Minister is better than a bad Prime Minister."
Quality.
Boom! Right
Quality.
at you.
You know what he's doing tonight? Banging his way through Westminster.
Oh, poor children. So no, that's made a Tory hang on it.
Yeah, it's definitely a backbencher.
So so we don't know what's going to happen next. Essentially, I guess basically all the stuff.
We should probably bring this back a wee bit then, like to cover kind of so for American listeners and stuff like that. Essentially, after there had been a lot of questions regarding whether we're going to have a no deal Brexit, a set of guidelines, the terms that we were putting forward were put out by Theresa May. Theresa May is contingent.
Yeah, and about like three weeks ago or so, she came back from Brussels and said, "I've got a deal."
But
and this is it.
Yeah, and essentially there was a set of, I don't know what we'll call it, guidelines at the present moment,
like terms,
that said this is what we are aiming to have for us to have a deal. I mean, essentially,
that was the legal framework of what has been agreed with Brussels,
and essentially, for the most part, it is, as one would expect, not hugely beneficial for the UK, as in
it's not better than staying in the EU in terms of GDP and stuff like that.
Essentially we'll be paying a whole shitload of money to have lots of the parts of the EU rules still in place without having any say in what's happening with the EU, and a lot of the things that people will argue that they voted as reasons that they wanted to leave the EU were still there in place. We're still going to happen.
Yeah, and I will say in the defence of the withdrawal deal that Theresa May's kind of got in terms of the sort of GDP benefits or otherwise, like as in they've done the numbers and they've said, well, this is going to cost the economy this much, this is going to cost the economy X, Y, Z, these are the different scenarios. No deal, you're looking at like potentially around 10% of GDP down. This deal that May has arrived at looks like, only cutting GDP by like 3 to 4%, something like that.
I think the first number that came out was like 2.7, and then it was kind of played upon a little bit. But yeah, I mean, essentially, this is as good a deal as we could have expected to get
while still leaving
the EU. Yeah,
but again, our argument would be
it's a worse deal than just being in the EU
because having a say in it.
Yeah, having a say in it, and like we'll not get into it. I mean, we'll definitely, so you are all aware, come the end of March, once we know where we're actually standing with stuff, we will do a full-blown Brexit type episode where we cover all Brexit thing just before it happens or as it happens in real time or whatever. The long and short of it is,
assuming it happens in March.
Yeah. I mean, the long and short of it is that there's going to be a lot of knock-on effects for little businesses us leaving the EU. You know what I mean? And that's going to have a massive effect on the UK.
And just your average man on the street.
Yeah, that's but I mean that's
and women.
Yeah, average person. Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually. I kind of defended it there by saying, it's only going to cost us this much, but I'm not really massively in favour of it. The weird thing is that nobody seems to be massively happy about it, apart from a smattering of like kind of cabinet MPs around about Theresa May. It led to a few pretty swift resignations, Dominic Raab being the sort of biggest name, and amongst that and Esther McVeigh as well. You then had obviously the ERG kind of pushed for a vote of no confidence in, like putting in the 44 letters or whatever that they had to put in. Rees-Mogg had a sort of Rees-Mogg bad effort at counting to 44.
He also, Rees-Mogg did publicly state that he had put in a letter, which he hadn't done. Well, not that he hadn't put a letter in, but he hadn't stated that he had done that up until now. So it was that's a dog whistle, if you will, towards the people who are around him, who are supporting him and stuff like that. If he's willing to put that out into the public, then it certainly suggests that in the event this went to a vote tomorrow, that everyone on both sides of the fence seemed to be gunning for Theresa May.
The ERG certainly were against it. Any kind of hard Brexiteer was against it. The DUP were massively against it, made public statements regarding that. Arlene Foster was on Mar talking about it.
I mean, one of the things that is a component in this is the whole backstop. Yeah, the whole Northern Ireland
Well,
Republic.
And that is the reason that Theresa May repeatedly gave to almost any question that she was asked today, was she just kept mentioning the backstop and saying people aren't happy with the backstop, so we're going to go back and talk about the backstop with the EU. So her strategy appears to be returning to the EU for renegotiation on a deal which the EU have quite strongly stated is not up for renegotiation.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is as well, it's kind of what we alluded to there. This is actually the worst case scenario for everyone. As in, people who wanted to get Brexit didn't want this. People who didn't want to have Brexit didn't want this. So this doesn't actually appease anyone. This is like a middle of the road that nobody wanted at all. It doesn't. I am not. You all know my stance on this, right? So I'm not saying that I believe that no deal is a good thing, but if we're leaving the EU and everybody was voting to leave the EU entirely, no deal is the thing they were voting for. And I do believe in democracy. So if you were voting for a no deal and you believed you were voting for a no deal, it should be a no deal you get. Whether I believe that's right or wrong is another thing. Like, I mean, I will argue that the people who were making that vote, in the nicest possible way, were mostly clueless about a lot of stuff that they didn't fully understand the things that they were going into. But that's my opinion on that. But if democracy should be allowed to play its part and, like, you know what I mean, to run its course, and for that, these people should be allowed to have their no deal rather than some shy middle of the road deal.
Well, it's better some people being happy with it than nobody being happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, as I was kind of saying as well, tomorrow, if the vote was happening, the SNP had already offered to have a rainbow government with the Labour
and the Greens and Plaid Cymru and the Lib Dems.
I can't imagine the DUP were in that, but
no, they don't like rainbows. So, but for me, right,
just red, white, and blue rainbow.
Just pull it back a wee bit. You were talking about, the deal that's on the table and how not a lot of people are going to be happy with it, and perhaps it would be better for it to be no deal because at least a certain percentage of people would be happy. I think that it appears to me, just looking at this, that Theresa May throughout has basically made her red lines all about immigration and freedom of movement, right? Now, there is evidence to suggest through polling, etc., that control of borders and immigration and freedom of movement were the biggest motivators for people to vote leave. So in that respect, perhaps it's correct that that's what she's made her red lines about. The hard Brexiteers who are then talking about, sovereignty and about trade and all those other things, those were not what was at the top of the agenda in terms of polling for the majority of people that voted leave. So if this really is an exercise in democracy, which is what we are constantly told it is, then that's what should be the priority, surely. There's an argument for that, is there not?
Oh yeah, I mean,
not that I agree with it.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I don't disagree that that's the. I mean, even without polling, if you were to ask, if you were to ask anyone who has spent any time on social media or, God forbid, had mentioned Brexit in any way, shape or form on an open platform, you would be able to see that one of the things that definitely is a sticking point is certainly immigration and control of the borders. There's a firm belief that we don't have any control of our borders, and there's immigrants coming in all over the place. I mean, like, I know this is why I understand what you're saying, but the problem is, although I agree that should then maybe be a... You're going to make random noises here.
No, I'm not.
No. That should maybe be the point that they're working towards.
I only say that because they're constantly telling us that we need anybody who says we should have another vote. You're not respecting democracy. This was the greatest exercise of democracy that's ever happened in the UK. You know, the people were sovereign. They've made a decision. We should respect that. It's all about democracy. I'm a Democrat. Blah 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 blah. We're just constantly told it's about democracy. If it's about democracy, then give the people what they voted for. And there's overwhelming evidence to suggest that's what they voted for. I would also say that, realistically, if you think about it, polling on those issues is likely to be lower than what people really think, because there's a stigma around it. Although, granted, that's been removed somewhat since, but in the direct aftermath of Brexit, or at the polls when people were voting, they were asked what they were voting for. There was still a stigma, and there still is a certain amount of stigma.
They would come across as
racist. So people don't necessarily want to say that's why they're voting for Brexit, but it fucking is.
No, I get that. But and then the other, although you can take a hard line on that, the problem is, in the event you understand how the borders and border control works, you can't take a hard line. Like, we'll take a hard line and we'll change our full control of our borders to even more fuller control of our borders. You know what I mean? Like, as in, like...
Surely you would argue that nobody understands border control better than the woman who was Home Secretary for fucking, 6 years or so?
I mean, you would argue that, but you could also argue that the person who was put in charge of Northern Ireland for the Tories didn't know about, you know, Catholics and Protestants fighting each other. So, you know.
Good point.
So, like, and Rab didn't know about ferries.
Oh, it turns out Calais and Dover's dead important to UK trade.
Fucking, so everyone comes here via water?
I
thought we grew toilet roll.
He doesn't even know how many A's are in his surname.
No, too many. Rab.
So, one of the other things that you kind of start to hit on there was what the SNP have kind of been trying to promote the idea of a vote no confidence, B, potentially a general election, C, pushing for a people's vote. And Nicola Sturgeon has been quite public, I would say, in making her view on that known. She went down to Westminster in the aftermath of the withdrawal bill and the details of it being announced, and sort of tried to drum up support. We know that she sat down and spoken to Jeremy Corbyn. She called him out today again to say, a vote of no confidence, you know, put it to the Commons, you have our support. The
problem is, right, so devil's advocate in this, right, how it will always be viewed is this is Sturgeon trying to power grab a definitive second independence referendum by getting herself into a position of power or making it a term of anything that comes about. And that's the only reason she's pushing for that right now, because she's seen an opportunity and take that opportunity to say, you can now take this and we will back you, but you have to let us have a second independence referendum. And that will definitely be on the table.
Oh yeah, I would say that would definitely be a negotiating position. But I think it's unfair to suggest that she doesn't genuinely care about keeping Scotland in the EU.
Oh no!
And
also the people is,
and also to say that she doesn't genuinely care about getting the Tories out of government.
No, I believe that she definitely does want the Tories out of government. She definitely is against austerity, and she definitely, as the will of the people of Scotland show, we want to be, Scotland certainly wants to be part of the EU still. So I'm not saying that all those components aren't a fact, but what I'm saying is
but she's a politician, so she's using it to her advantage.
And she's using it to her advantage, and that'll be how it's viewed, though. That's the problem that you've got. Now, I would also say, and the thing is, I think it's reasonable now for people to be aware that I would be quite happy for there to be a Labour leadership to overtake the Tory leadership at some point in the UK in the next, anytime. Tomorrow would be ideal, but essentially, but I mean, like, in the next election, I would quite like to see Labour beat the Tories, because realistically, we are a two-party country. I mean, so it's going to be one of the two. So if it's the UK as a whole, and we've got control in Westminster, it's going to be the Tories or it's going to be Labour. Right? I don't think anyone's under any illusion that it's going to be like the Lib Dems or Greens or anything like that, unless it's a coalition. Everyone that listens is probably aware that I would like to see Labour rather than the Tories, under whatever leadership that it's under. I genuinely believe right now that Jeremy Corbyn is the king of terrible decisions. So, like, he's looking...
But there's, I mean, no, he's not doing anything, man.
That would be one of the terrible decisions. Like, he's looked at it and he's thought to himself, well, I'll see how this plays out.
But is it because that he secretly just really wants us to leave the EU? I mean, he's a known Eurosceptic for decades, so... You know, maybe he's just quite happy for us to leave and is happy to watch it happen.
Well, I mean, I think it's reasonable to say that beyond Eurosceptic, he has shown time and time again historically that he is for states breaking away from big control to become smaller controlled units. You know what I mean? Essentially, he has been a pro supporter of that.
He's against neoliberalism.
Yeah, so, and he's a pro supporter of that across the board, and he's shown that time and time again in various places that he's been around the world
Apart
and who's
from
supported. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't believe that him as a person has. I mean, Maddie Black's even said that in conversation with him, he has no issue with the premise that Scotland. I mean, I honestly don't believe that Jeremy Corbyn really cares about Scotland. Like as in,
I don't think he really cares about
gives
Scotland.
a fuck about Scotland.
No,
in
I
the
don't
grand
think
scheme
he
of things.
does
Like,
either.
so
Unfortunately,
I
because if he did, it would make it a lot easier for me to vote for him.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that's essentially out of badness. I think that Jeremy Corbyn sees himself as English and cares about England and doesn't care about Scotland, as in he'll care about Britain if Britain's there, but if Britain was to split off into, well, if the UK was to split off into Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland and England, it wouldn't really bother him because he's all for that anyway. I mean, like I said, he's shown that time and time again. So I don't think it's fair to say, well, I mean, he's a Eurosceptic and he wants it to happen, but I don't really think that's what the case is here. I think that what it is he wants the Tories to implode, and he wants the Tories to do the vote of no confidence. He wants the Tories to force the election. He wants the Tories to be in the back.
But there comes a point where you can't just sit and wait for something to happen.
I did mention not long ago that he was the king of terrible decisions.
Like
I'm not saying that.
He does need to, like, at some point he needs to fucking shit or get off the pot. You know what I mean? We're running out of time on this. We're heading towards a deal which doesn't please anybody. Certainly doesn't pass the 6 tests that Labour put in place at the party conference this summer, right? So obviously we know
greed. That's the 7 deadly
7
tests.
deadly sins.
All right, sorry, I thought it was something else.
So we can't the sloths account for the goonies. We know that Labour aren't going to vote for the deal as it stands, and probably aren't going to vote for it whenever Theresa May comes back.
I mean, the SNP aren't going either.
Yes.
So we know that unless the DUP do,
which basically is why she's trying to please, why she's making the backstop the focus of this conversation is to try and garner support with the DUP to get over the line, and within obviously the sort of right wing fringes of her own party. So, like, today surely was a prime opportunity for Corbyn to push for a vote of no confidence. Or, like, you know, when is going to be the time? If he waits for it to be the perfect time forever, he might miss his opportunity.
he might. I mean, so because I can't guarantee it, I did try to find out today to see where his stances were. I'd have thought that his plan would be ideally hoping that the Tories were going to fall in on himself because it just forces a general election. And that's what he's hoping for.
And he has mentioned the general election a bunch of times.
And I think that's what he's wanting. So what he doesn't want to go into.
But he can make it happen.
I know, but he doesn't want. I don't believe.
He doesn't want to be seen as the guy who made it happen.
Yes, because if the Tories
because then they'll spin it as him pulling the country apart.
If the Tories fall apart and it triggers a general election almost by default because shit goes crazy, then Corbyn is in the right when he steps into it, and he can sell himself as the saviour of this scenario. Whereas in the event he triggers a general election, just like coming towards Christmas and they don't have a Brexit deal and have not settled on a Brexit deal, and now the Tories have to find a new leader, and all of this was done by Jeremy Corbyn because he's like a fucking mad communist terrorist.
And I totally understand that is a sensible strategy, right? I totally understand that. There's just part of me that worries a little bit that perhaps I'm projecting things onto Jeremy Corbyn that aren't there. So I'm like, I've had this discussion with a few people who were like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing this. He's just waiting for the right time, and this is his plan, and ultimately he's going to do this. But then I get moments of doubt in that, where I'm like, maybe he just genuinely doesn't actually mind that much and isn't going to do anything, Maybe I'm projecting my ideals onto Jeremy Corbyn and they're not actually there, you know?
Maybe we all are, but as we said, he is definitely not going to turn round at any point based on his opinion. So, what I do believe that Jeremy does is, I believe that he...
Big Jezza.
J-Dog. Follows the will of the people in his party.
Jella the Killer.
It's do you know what? It doesn't matter. I was going to get dark there, but I believe that he follows the will of the people in his party, even if it's like to detriment to everything that exists. You know what I mean? Essentially, like, I do believe that, like, he is the type of person who will, like, allow Brexit to happen even if he didn't want it to, because the will of the people was that they wanted Brexit to happen, for example. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of person he is.
But is that the will of the people within his party?
But that's it. But so
there seems to be a significant portion of Labour supporters who want to remain in the EU.
But
his
people.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's quite a significant portion that don't as well. So, but surely, if you really wanted to follow that democratic route, you could arrange a vote, but to every Labour members.
The thing is, I'm not saying that in the event. So
put it online. It's a piece of piss.
So, but that's the thing. So I'm not saying that what in the event what would possibly happen is the Tories collapse in on themselves. It triggers a general election. Some rainbow government gets in under Jeremy Corbyn, and then he goes out to the people and asks them coming up, because obviously another thing that we could touch on right now is the EU have said we can get this to fuck.
The European Court.
Yeah.
The European Court have said we can unilaterally just go, well, we've cancelled Brexit, and we would automatically be back in the EU on exactly the same terms as we left without the say-so of the EU 27.
Yeah.
They have no fucking say.
Yeah. So, which,
by the way, is the result of a select bunch of MSPs and lawyers and whatever fucking pursuing that through the courts to the highest level to just to get that decision fucking in black and white.
Just to make sure that it did exist. And the thing is, I'm not saying that at the other side of Christmas, January or whatever, in the event this sweet scenario played out where everything fell into place and the Tories collapsed and they were now under fucking Boris or fucking Rab.
Imagine collapsing in on yourself and finding out that Boris is at the top and you're at the bottom. It would crush you.
I mean, aye. But almost literally.
Well, quite literally.
But I mean, I actually might not be Boris. It genuinely could be Rab.
It could, but Hunt's up there as well. I think, like, definitely. I think he's a dark horse.
I would kind of like Hunt to get it because
it's easy to hate him.
Oh, and not only that, his name rhymes.
What? Dunt.
That's the one I was going to say. And it would give us Hanners and the opportunities, and it would give the news presenters loads of opportunities, like that one that they did it when they called him like Jeremy Cunt. That was quality.
Oh, cunt, right, sorry.
I thought you meant something else. But aye, so I'm not saying that it wouldn't in January and then have a people's vote or similar, but certainly the opportunity's there. But right now, it feels very much like we have a Tory leadership who is leading 50% of the Tories, with the other 50% of the Tories straight up hating her.
50%, she's lucky, man.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like, essentially she's leading some of the Tories. We've got a Labour leader who doesn't want to make a decision. We've got an SNP leader who is using an opportunity to try and get what she wants, and also supporting a Labour leader to do something that the Labour leader doesn't want to do. You've got a DUP leader who is now fucking raging and about fucking 10 million quid up. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, she'll get a cool billion in their fucking coffers, regardless of whether she fucking continues to vote with the Tories or not. So.
I know, but just using our previous business model, I just presumed that she had skimmed a solid 10% off that for her own.
Well, I
1%.
So, obviously, the sort of scandal which engulfed the DUP previously was that they were basically doling out money for people.
I just tell people it's shifting boilers. It's so funny. It's so
furnaces and boilers with burners and stuff like that, and they were subsidising people massively. So folk were basically getting paid a shitload of money to go and put these in at a loss and run them, and DUP were giving them money until it was found to be a complete fucking scam, and it was shut down. And there was a big controversy about it, but nothing happened because it's Northern Ireland and nothing happens. I have heard from sources that the same thing is currently happening with hen houses and chicken shit, and that they're subsidising people providing chicken shit as fertiliser and building hen houses, and that exactly the same thing has happened with the boilers that's happening in Northern Ireland right now.
I mean, these
and I've passed that information to one of the major newspapers in the UK to look into, so we'll find out soon enough whether it's factually accurate or not.
And we'll find out first and we'll let you know.
Well, you have just found out now, so.
Alright. So,
and obviously, if that's not the case, then libel drink or whatever.
And
allegedly.
And then if that is the case, Northern Ireland have to have a serious look at themselves, because every time that they do one of these scams, it's like a classic Irish trope type thing. It's just like it's like boilers and fucking tarmac and fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
and the next thing, grow more potatoes.
The potato subsidies that they're doing.
I don't even know why. I mean, I was trying to go Northern Irish, but I got mixed up with Southern Irish.
You went Southern Irish, yeah. I mean,
and
the thing is, like, you know better than most people exactly what Northern Irish is.
Yeah, that's different. So one of the stories that popped up to me sort of during the whole withdrawal bill nonsense, and I think it was actually slightly preceded the announcement of the withdrawal bill. It was on a day where the papers were basically saying that no deal was imminent because nothing could be agreed, and it saw the biggest drop in the pound versus the dollar and the euro, etc. It was the biggest drop since the 2016 vote, the day after that. Which has just been usurped, because actually today was the biggest drop in the pound since the referendum. But at the time,
am I going to be with a fucking wheelbarrow full of money trying to get a loaf of bread shortly?
Quite possibly. Just learn to make your own.
Sorry kids, Christmas is shite this year.
So this hedge fund manager called Crispin O'Day, or O'Day, who happens to be Jacob Rees-Mogg's business partner, he said, "Oh well, it's been a good day for me." So I think this was in the Times, but he basically said it was a good day in the office. Said that mounting concern over the future of Theresa May's premiership had boosted his funds as shares in British banks, retailers and house builders fell sharply. "I've had a good day," he told the Times. I imagine that's how he speaks. "Bad days tend to be good days for us. Ha ha ha.
Lots of money."
Criticising Mrs May's Brexit deal, he said that the Prime Minister has given an O-level answer to an A-level question. Yeah.
I mean, I presume that's how he sounds, because I don't know if you've seen exactly how Jacob Rees-Mogg looks. And
but
also,
it looks like he sounds like that.
And his business partner, so remember, this is a business partner to the guy whose dad wrote a book about how to make money during disaster capitalism.
Well, he said that the firm's flagship O'Day European Inc. fund had risen about 50% this year, gaining in value by about 200 million. So yeah, they cunts are making money.
Aye, man. So that's Jacob Rees-Mogg, by the way. Not that's his business partner. He's making money at this. See, while he's telling you all how no deal Brexit's the best way to go forward, he is raking in the pennies.
Yeah, and pounds. So I had a wee sort of brief overlook of some of the main players within the Leave campaign and how they have sort of acted post Brexit referendum. You know, Rees-Mogg set up an investment, moved like loads of his investments to Ireland.
Aye.
Yeah. James Dyson moved a
He's new
significant
plant.
proportion
He's just
of
opened
his production in China.
Yeah, he's just moved a new plant. He's just opened a new plant in, I think, Malaysia. Don't know how many that for his electric cars, electric vehicles, electric.
The Ineos head, Jim Ratcliffe, the richest man in Britain, who was a pro-Brexiteer, has moved to Monaco personally. So all his personal wealth is now tax-free. And Farage fucking applied for German passports for his kids.
Now, people will argue, just be like, I bet his parents, his mum's German though. Why would you not do that? It's like, you're missing the point. He's like, you're missing the point. Like, I get that.
The point is that none of this shit when it hits the fan is going to affect any of these people. These people are able to fucking make this shit work for them. They were the ones who were standing up in public going, yeah, we should totally do this. It's a great idea. We'll all get fucking shafted and they can all fuck off to Monaco or fucking apply for German passports or pay for fucking whatever they fucking want.
Just remember, like, Farage's background is essentially is in investment banking and stuff. I mean, that's where he comes from, that type of area. And at the present moment, lots of investment bankers are making a fair bit of money. Do you know what I mean? Like,
interesting.
Exactly.
So I suppose that kind of leads us on to UKIP a wee bit, because they've kind of been quite prominent in the news the past couple of weeks as well.
So, I think we should take a leaf out of Tony Blair's book, because realistically this is UKIP rather than UKIP, because the rule set of UKIP is dramatically changed, or they're certainly working towards dramatically changing it. I mean, the original scenario was that UKIP wouldn't allow members of, or ex-members of the BNP and
EDL
and that ilk, essentially people who were part of prominent right-wing racist groups.
But specifically those were the ones that were named. I think EDL and BNP were certainly named in the legislation. Now, they haven't changed it as yet, but it's on the cards for the conference this year.
Yeah, that's it. So they have marked it as Agenda 21. I don't know. It's a wee right-wing joke.
So this, I mean, there's a few things that have happened with UKIP. So, I mean, first of all, they've taken on board Paul Joseph Watson, Milo, Count Dankula, Sargon of Akkad, cunt, what a fucking name, and also have recently taken on Tommy Robinson, not as a member because they're not allowed to do that, although I think he might have tried to become a member.
He's not a member, he's an advisor.
No, but yesterday there was some live tweeting going on from a Brexit protest that Tommy Robinson was involved in, and Gerald Batten, the leader of UKIP, was there, and I believe that they were trying to sign Tommy Robinson up as a UKIP member live on stage to the crowd of people to show him that he was joining UKIP, and his bank details were rejected.
It's good, you probably put the wrong name in. Your name's Stephen.
Yes, Yaxley Lennon, mate.
That's not how you spell it. That's not how you spell Yaxley.
But yeah, you're right. They've appointed him as their advisor on
rape gangs and
prison reform.
Rape gangs and prisons.
Because they two got together like cheese and
rape
apples.
Gangs.
Oh no, that actually kind of goes together.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, so he's a specialist in rape gangs. Read into that what you want. You could probably take that one of two ways. Read into that what you want. You can, and he's a specialist in prisons. Now, going in the idea that he's spent more time in prison than most people I know. He's a dab hand at it, and he probably knows a fair bit about prison reform. One would only
It's a fair rap sheet as well.
Aye, man, it does. I think he's been in prison like 12 times or something like that.
I don't know if he's been in prison that many times, but he's had a lot of convictions.
Sorry, maybe not full jail set, but he's certainly been in and out the cells for at least 12 times. He's been arrested.
Yeah.
More than 12 times. And he's been in prison a few times.
He's been convicted.
Yeah. So he's a dab hand at the old prisons. And he's always focusing on sex gangs.
All right, okay.
Now, we know that his issue is sex gangs and not Muslims, because he's always protesting white people sex gangs. You always see him outside courts when it's white people sex gangs saying, "Oh, yous are beasts and you shouldn't be doing this to children." This has nothing to do with religion, statistically, that we can prove. But see, that's not true, because essentially what it is it's a thinly veiled attack on Muslim people.
Oh no, but Tommy Robinson doesn't dislike Muslim people. He just dislikes Islam. He said that on numerous occasions.
Can we call it what Tommy calls it? The death cult.
The death cult of Islam, which also is a sentiment which has been recently echoed by Gerald Batten, the new leader of UKIP, who also called Muhammad a paedophile, which is something which Tommy Robinson has also stated regularly.
Death Cult of Islam sounds like a band. I mean, it's a band that you would have real problems getting gigs.
Yeah, it's hard to book them. Caliphate, by the way, is worth a listen. It's a good podcast all about this.
I thought you were talking about a band.
No, it's like a reporter that kind of is following ISIS, like literally going into the war zones just after buildings that ISIS have been occupying have been blown up, and trying to like recover documents and shit to find out how their inner workings are, going and tracking down people via Instagram who have been in ISIS, then left ISIS, and are like living back in Canada or the US or the UK or whatever. It's interesting, quite well made, worth a listen. Anyway,
so back to Tommy, Big Tam, Big Racist Tam. There's
Big TR.
There's a
Temporary refuge.
It's
an oil rig joke.
Hilarious. The way like three lads just like TR.
By the way, even MD at works, I'm sure won't find that funny. It's a shite joke.
I believe that. So they're trying to get Tommy in. I mean, obviously the rest of the lads that they've brought in are just low bottom of the barrel media. I mean, I was going to like I'm not going to be nice about him. See if you ever want a kick.
What are all Pal Count Dankula?
I mean, in fairness, there's like loads of things. Like there's loads of things in common. For example, Tommy Robinson got loads of money after Right Wing, bought a house. Dankula got loads of money after Right Wing, got a
paid
wedding.
For his wedding.
You know what I mean? Like that's how they offer it.
Do you reckon Tommy Robinson, Sargon of Akkad, Milo, or Paul Joseph Watson have a hammer and sickle tattoo though?
No, I very much doubt it. But I mean,
so that's just Count Dankula.
Just Count Dankula. I mean, the thing is though, they're essentially the League of Extraordinary Pelters, aren't they? Like they're like the
ex-communist Count Dankula.
The asses of evil. Like I mean, they're like the worst combination ever. Like,
well, also like it has to be bad when you're so bad that it causes Paul Nuttall, Nigel Farage, and David Coburn to leave the party because they've become too extreme for them.
I mean, like the racists are just like, these guys are too. I mean, they're not even extreme though. I think the problem is like, see if you want to laugh, see if you're bored, see if this is going to be this is a fucking horrible thing to say, by the way. But if you ever want to giggle, jump onto the internet and search for any post of Milo's breakdowns over the last couple of months. That'll fucking cheer you up no end.
Or yeah, just read about his crippling debt.
Or how bad it is, how the right wing have decided that they're not interested in a media tech orientated homosexual flamboyant man off the internet. It just they don't seem to gel with the right wing very well.
Yeah, all those Americans don't want to take advice from an English guy anymore. Paul Joseph Watson is constantly tweeting about fucking America and Trump when he lives in fucking Hackney or some shit. Like, you've got a fucking identity crisis, you fucking weird, horrible cunt.
The thing is, he also, just so we're clear, because this I definitely brought this up before, but it's just getting to that time of year again where I get to annoy him on Twitter. So what's going to happen is, over the next couple of months, next couple of weeks, as what happened last year, you'll see that pelter post things about how Tesco doesn't have the word Christmas next to its decorations and other stupid. And
how schools have banned the word Christmas and it's Winterfest now and we can't have Christmas because it offends Muslim children.
No cunt calls it Winterfest. Nobody calls it that. Nobody calls it that.
I have an event that I call Winterfest, and what I'd like to do is I like to print out full-sized pictures of Paul Joseph Watson, Count Dankula, Sargon of Akkad and Milo and Tommy Robinson, and what I do is I shit outside, right? When it's really, really cold.
Tell us more about this.
Right. Shit outside when it's really, really cold, and it like little moulds Okay,
You shanty
little
molds.
ball-shaped molds, and then leave it to freeze outside overnight. And then what we do is we have like we just throw frozen. Yeah, it's Winterfest, man. You've never been to my Winterfest?
Absolutely have no intention of throwing your feces.
No, but everybody can get involved on the feces front. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it actually benefits you obviously because it's like a competition. The person who can do the most damage and can get the most shit on the most pieces of shit.
Oh, well, I mean, the easiest way to get that much shit is just fucking Twitter. Just print off any of their Twitters.
There's Bucky slushies. It's,
it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, it's great.
I think that last bit was made up, but Zarkani Akkad sounds exactly like a baddie as well. From I mean, I'm presuming that's not his real name.
I mean, it's as much his real name as Tommy Robinson's, Stephen Yaxley Lennon's real name,
or Count Dacula,
or Milo.
They've all got weird pseudonyms.
Actually, Milo might be his real name.
And it is, because it's Milo. I'm going to be wrong. Yana
Popolopoulos.
Yana Popolopoulos.
That's not us being racist. That's just us unable to speak.
Oh, genuinely can't even remember his name, but I know it's like
Yiannopoulos.
Yiannopoulos. Is it Yiannopoulos?
Milo
Is
Yiannopoulos, I think.
Isn't it?
No.
All right, cool. Anyway, he's. I believe.
I mean, there's 3 Ks in him somewhere.
Anyway,
so
moving swiftly on.
So yeah, that's UKIP's a bit fucked. Oh no, actually no, not moving swiftly on, because the Guardian did quite an interesting expose on Tommy Robinson at the weekend, which is worth going into, because it sort of looked at the financial support that has been coming his way.
But Jerry, is this not just a newspaper supported by George Soros? Haha, bet yous ought to it. Fuck yous. Haha, I don't want to fucking hear about it. Don't message us. I don't care what you think about George Soros.
I mean, realistically, there's been a few Twitter threads and stuff sort of showing the links between some major right-wing think tanks and some major Israeli right-wing think tanks.
Oh yeah.
And Tommy Robinson. And this piece by The Guardian sort of pulled a few of those threads together. It was looking at an analysis that was conducted by the London-based Institute for Strategic Dialogue, who sort of look at social media campaigns and disinformation and stuff like that. And they found basically there'd been 2.2 million tweets posted using the hashtag #FreeTommy between May and October. And that more than 40% of them came from America, and that 600 Twitter accounts believed to be directly tied to the Russian government had significantly tweeted in his defence and used the Free Tommy hashtag. Did
the Americans not just think people were giving out Tommies for free?
free Tommy, yay! Free Tommy gun. Yeah, they love their guns. Don't take my gun. He says
free Thompson rifle didn't work. They had to change it.
He was also using Facebook donation to raise money, despite the fact that it's specifically designated for charities.
To buy a house.
Probably.
I bought a big house.
He says he raised several £100,000 via online donations, some of which came through Facebook. So Facebook pulled that off him, took the donate button away off the back of this. There was also, the Middle East Forum, who are based in Philadelphia, spent $60,000 on his legal fees and demonstrations in London after he was arrested. A guy called Robert Shillman, who is a US tech billionaire, he financed a fellowship that paid for Robinson to be employed by Rebel Media on a salary of about $5,000 a month, UK pounds. Not bad dough for a fucking idiot.
How much? How much did you just say he was getting paid?
$5,000 a month.
Is that right, man?
Yeah, yeah.
Did they pay tax on that?
I don't know. The Australian Liberty Alliance funded him as well. The Gatestone Institute, who that's one of the threads that I had read. Gatestone Institute are linked with Bannon.
All these groups sound racist. Like they've chosen right racist sounding names.
Yeah, and the David Horowitz Freedom Centre also published a series of pieces, and I've lobbied for him to address US politicians and stuff like
And
that.
that's-
John Pilger as well, who's one of the main proponents of like war. Not John Pilger. John Pilger?
Don't know, it's her, it's not your
It's the
lad.
guy with the mad fucking tash who is really anti-Iran, and he was running for Senator of Boston, I think. I'll find his name anyway, but he's like given talks and invested a lot of money in the Gatestone Institute and stuff as well. So there's all of these ties to the far right in America.
I know it's sent that quote, didn't he? Because I actually read that Guardian article as well.
Yeah.
The man about how epidemic of rape.
Yeah, Tommy Robinson is a courageous Englishman who has risked his life to expose the rape epidemic of young girls conducted by Muslim gangs and covered up by your shameful government.
These guys believe that. These guys believe, right? They believe that there is an epidemic, right? Not just it happens. Not saying that it's good that it happens. Not saying that it doesn't happen. But an epidemic of it occurring. Essentially, young girls can't go to the shop without them being attacked by a gang of Muslim men that are going to rape them at any given time that they turn round the corner. And then, further than that the British government is then covering it up. Like,
I would suggest that David Horowitz is not familiar with the definition of the word epidemic.
I think so.
Potentially.
I think so.
Maybe not sure what it means.
I don't fully think he knows what Muslims are either.
Or decency, or, moral
Or rape gangs.
values. Yeah, he just seems like a bit of a cunt, if I'm honest.
I bet I've got the feeling though he probably knows what a lynch mob is. Like, he strikes me as the type of man who might also have like right racist undertones with everything that he does. So as you were saying, he doesn't actually know what the word epidemic means. You have got a definition on that?
Well, yeah, it means a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. So a widespread occurrence, you could transplant effective infectious disease for rape gang, I suppose, but it would have to be widespread in a community, and I just don't think that's true, is it?
No, I mean, no. At least on the upside, he's not said it's a pandemic though.
True. Like, an epidemic occurs when an infectious disease spreads rapidly to many people. For example, in 2003, the severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS epidemic took the lives of nearly 800 people worldwide. So...
Oh, wait. See, if you look further, it then says, and in 2012, the epidemic rape gang virus took over lots of Muslim men up and down the UK, according to the right wing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is the thing as well. Obviously, everybody finds anybody being raped to be abhorrent, right? It's a fucking horrible thing to happen to anybody. Nobody wants it to happen, especially to young girls, especially to disadvantaged young girls from poor backgrounds. The police should be doing their fucking job better on that, and I sincerely hope that anybody involved in it has the full fucking extent of the law brought to them. But it's just... The media coverage that it has received is just entirely disproportionate, and it is so fucking transparently a race-driven fucking issue.
I mean, like, official statistics show that...
Or a religion-driven issue.
Yeah. But specific actual statistics show that although rape gang perpetrators are more likely to be of non-British descent, in a rape gang,
Yes.
you are no statistically more likely as a child or a young girl or a woman to be raped by a non-white male from the UK than you are a white male from the UK. In fact, statistically, you're as likely.
It's exactly proportionate.
Yeah, it's exactly to the population.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that's right or wrong or anything, but all I'm saying is like, the problem here is rape and child molestation.
Yeah.
The problem
All
is
rapists
not...
are cunts.
all rapists are cunts. Like, the problem
Put
with...
that in a t-shirt.
Aye, that's definitely a t-shirt. All rapists are cunts. There is no excuse. "You're a rapist." It's probably another good T-shirt. Although it only works if you're discussing something with a rapist. Everyone else you're then just calling a rapist. It's probably no.
You're just walking around with "you're a rapist" written on you seems in some way quite aggressive.
But then the guys who are rapists know that we know.
Oh yeah, I see what you're doing. So, I guess talking about rape guys, talking about Islam and Tommy's hard on for it. I reckon Tommy's ex-bird must have left him for a Muslim dude.
I don't know. Did you ever see the screenshot of the girl who said that the girl that he said on Twitter was right hot for a Muslim, and it turns out she was 15.
Wow.
She said something to him
That's definite true.
There's a thread of all the crimes that Tommy Robinson has committed on a Wikipedia, and one of the ones on it has got the screenshot from the Twitter where she was something, Tommy, probably you're a racist, and he was you're quite hot for a Muslim, and she's damn it, you pedo, I'm 15.
Do you know what? There's actually something that we don't have in the notes here, but it's just I've remembered about as a wee Syrian boy that was getting bullied.
Man, that was fucking brutal.
Yeah, it was horrible, but Tommy Robinson leapt to the defence of the bullies and got absolutely fucking trolled by some left-wingers who pretended to have evidence that that basically the Syrian boy had been battering girls and stuff like that, and sent him all these photos of a lassie that had been punched up and beaten up, basically, which turned out to be from a Daily Mirror piece about 3 years previous. But Tommy Robinson had been posting all of this stuff up in his Facebook saying, "See, this Syrian boy's not whiter than white," obviously, and he's been getting bullied because he's been doing this and he's been beating up lassies and blah 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 blah. And then they were just fucking absolutely trolling him, and it was all bullshit. And he had to admit that he'd been trolled.
Oh, by the way,
got it wrong.
Just our stance on this. See if you think it's okay for any child to waterboard another fucking child because of where they come from. You're a cunt. That's it. There is no discussion. You're a cunt.
Devil's advocate though. Waterboarding children sometimes okay. Jokes. Obviously, it's not. It's fucking shit. If you agreed with that in your head, there, you're a cunt.
Right. That's how we get you now. What we do is we say things and make you agree with them, and then we make you feel bad on a fucking train or that. And everybody's looking at you. They heard.
Yeah, they know. They know you thought that was all right.
Fucking horrible.
It's not all right.
But in all seriousness, one of the things that was going on underneath that post was, so there was a crowdfundme, a GoFundMe, a GoCrowdMe, whatever the fuck it's called, for that little boy, and he made 50 grand or whatever.
America.
To go to America. He's heard that there's less racism there.
You're wrong.
It's anyway. And there was people posting underneath it just I got bullied at school, where's my money? Nah, see, you're a cunt as well. Just so we're clear here. That's no... The point wasn't we should give all bully victims money. There's no... the point was this little boy had to go through a fucking harrowing ordeal and put on the fucking internet, and had to be fucking purely based on where he had came from, because people like that cunt Tommy fucking Robinson tell people that it's okay to hate people.
And he came from fucking Syria. It wasn't great there.
No, see, right, here's a thought. See if, I can't imagine that we appeal
But I guarantee before it got shit, it was better than fucking Sheffield or fucking Huddersfield or whatever the fuck.
That's what I was just about to say, right? So, I know a fair amount of people listen to us from London, and I know a fair amount of people listen to us from the west of Scotland, right? And I know that we probably don't appeal, I would hope, to that many people who have extreme right-wing views. Certainly there's people with right-wing views that we know listen to us, but not extreme right-wing views. Seeing the off chance you do have those views, do yourself a favour. Go down to your main street right now, have a fucking look about. See where you live, it's probably a shithole, right? In the grand scheme of things.
By the way, where we are's a shithole.
I'm not saying that we're above you in any way, shape or form.
We're in a shithole right now.
If I go down to that main street, and so we're clear, I've been in most of the fucking suburbs of fucking London when I've been down there doing work or staying places and stuff like that. I'm telling you, it's all a fucking shithole, right? Nobody looks across and the fucking green grass of the UK. I can't wait to move to a fucking one-bedroom flat in Hackney. I'm looking forward to living in a fucking high-rise down the bottom end of your house, right? These aren't fucking life goals by any cunt, right? So see the scenario that they've had to take themselves from fucking 5,000 miles in the other direction away to travel to here to escape death, right? The last thing they want to do is like be down North Motherwell and being told they should go home. I should go home. I can't.
I would like to
My
go
home
home.
has been levelled, and instead I'm now standing outside a shop that sells fags to 16-year-olds. Like, that's not what I want in my life.
But I think the aspect of this entire story that I found the most fucking sickening and irritating and repugnant and unforgivable, really, was the right-wing media who have been responsible for fucking promoting so much of this anti-refugee, anti-immigrant, anti-fucking anything other than white English sentiment, were so quick to fucking jump around in fucking uproar and outrage that this poor Syrian kid was being bullied and we should do something about it, and this is fucking, you know, symptomatic of the scummy fucking lower classes and their behaviour, and writing, you know, thought pieces about, you know, how terrible it was that this was happening to this poor boy. Yous are responsible for this. You are the people who have promoted the fucking language of this, the fucking ideals of this. You, all the way through the Brexit campaign, but so far prior to that, immigration has been on the agenda ever since Farage popped up his ugly, toady, cunty fucking head as leader of UKIP and started fucking talking about it on Question Time, a fucking completely disproportionate fucking amount, because he shouldn't be there, because he's never been an elected fucking representative in the House of Commons. Okay, he's been an MEP, he's been there about fucking 3 times, but there's no reason for him to have been on Question Time the amount that he has. And you have let this happen to the extent that this sort of behaviour has become socially acceptable, so don't pretend you're fucking outraged by it.
I'll actually go further and say, see any yous that have fucking shared Britain First posts, see any yous that have used the language that is intentionally used in these newspapers because you feel fucking hard done by, and you don't want to in any way, shape or form accept the fact that this is coming from the top. You are hard done by because the government are making you hard done by, because the people who have got money and wealth and big business are making sure that you're hard done by. The people who have these newspapers are making sure that you're hard done by. See the people who, see the fucking immigrants, see the refugees, see the people who are fucking out doing work. See that little boy who was at fucking school, he's hard done by as well. And they're making sure that fucking the working class are fighting amongst themselves. See, if you're middle class, you're also working class. Don't want to upset you, but it's time for you to learn that. And you're all fighting amongst yourself.
Your 2 fucking missed paychecks after fucking being kicked out of your house. You're fucking no middle class.
Aye, and that's the thing. So, you, if you're okay with using the language anywhere, be it around your mates, be it in the pub, be it around people behind closed doors, be it sharing it on Facebook, then you're part of this problem. You're qualifying this mindset and allowing it to fucking happen. See if you want to have an outrage, see if you want to be pissed off, fucking call to action here, but like fucking go and fucking march in the streets and fucking walk against the government and walk against the policies and walk against the fact you're getting shit stripped off you, and see if you're not sure things that are going to happen with Brexit. Look at the stuff that the British government voted against, that the EU forced them to put into place, that gave you better workers' rights, that gave you better working conditions, that gave you better working week. Look at these things. See if you tell people that you hate the trade unions because of the way that they treated the UK during the Margaret Thatcher years. Ask yourself how much you fucking like your weekend, right? Don't fucking ever believe that the people at the top are doing anything for you, and don't blame the working class and the poor that are around you, because right now, if you're listening to us, there's a high probability you are fucking poor. You might not feel poor, you might have things, you might live a fucking extra bougie lifestyle where you're drinking fucking bottles of Prosecco and you're wearing nice shoes, but realistically, you're probably quite poor, because your house,
2 missed paychecks after being kicked out your house.
Because you don't own your house and you don't own your car and you don't, you know what I mean? And you might own 1 or 2 of these things, but you don't own these things.
Or a bit of it.
Aye.
But you'll still get kicked out your house if you don't pay your fucking bills.
Your overdraft and your credit card. See when you don't have an overdraft and a credit card and your house is paid off and your car's all paid off and you own your company and you don't have to worry about tax because it's in an offshore, then you're rich. See, until that point, you're pretty fucking close to the breadline.
I would also say this, right? No matter what your beliefs are, left or right, direct action works. Look at what's happening in France right now. People are out on the streets causing chaos.
That might be one of the sexiest segues that's ever happened in any of our shows ever. That was fucking quality. Rise up! And if you're not sure how to rise up, choose the weekends and wear a yellow jacket.
Yeah, look at what's happening there right now. Now, granted, there's a bit of fucking disinformation floating around there. There's evidence that there's sort of fake news being perpetrated round about it, which is drumming up support for it in various ways, which, you know, is good or... I mean, obviously it's not good for disinformation to be there. However, what we can see from that is that direct action causes governments to take notice and to change policies. Macron came out today and has backed down on a number of policies. One particularly good one.
One policy is extra tax for underprivileged pensioners.
Low-paid pensioners.
But pensioners that don't have that much money, they had a policy for extra tax.
Yeah.
Extra tax. They're really poor old cunts.
Who aren't working, we're going to increase their tax. So they've decided that they're not going to do that anymore, which, I mean, how they thought they were going to sell that to anybody, presumably because they assumed that the pensioners weren't going to burn Porsches and, like, batter the police.
But the thing is, I've seen all sorts of mad arguments recently regarding this stuff. So you've got people talking about how Macron was like, how the left absolutely loved him up till now. No, they didn't. That's
no,
not a thing.
Centrists did though.
Right.
I've seen a fucking whole wealth of centrists who have basically said, "Oh, Macron is like the French Blair. We need an English Macron at the moment to unite the country and to move us back into the centre away from all this divisive
Scottish
politics."
Macron would be a macaroon.
Like nobody outside of Scotland. I can't even be bought. It's made with like potato and sugar. It's like a sweetie
like,
that's made with potato and
that,
sugar.
and it's kind of like it's just a lump of fucking sugar. It's just a lump. Is that right though?
I mean, imagine how much sugar you have to put in a potato to make it a sweetie. That's how much sugar's in it.
And then it's even sweet for that.
But
anyway,
but people are going, we need a Macron here. Well, look at what's happening in France. That's where your fucking Macron's got you, right? So centrist policies don't necessarily work either.
I've also seen people just like the reason that they're having to fucking, because they're now raging because the country's not getting any money. Where are they going to get the money for all the things that they want to happen? This is the lies that you're being fucking made to believe.
Tax Amazon, tax Google, tax Starbucks.
Like, people are talking about this being to do with the fucking hike in fuel prices. This has got fuck all to do with that. This is to do with the fact that the rich pay fuck all tax and the poor pay tons and tons of fucking tax.
And they were trying to increase tax on...
And they were trying, yeah, and on everything, actually, a whole pile of things, but fuel was one of them. Fuel was essentially the straw that broke the camel's back.
But it's the thing that's been focused on by our mainstream media in the UK.
Because they don't want
and also there's been very little coverage of the violence that's been enacted upon quite a lot of pretty peaceful looking protesters by
you can watch videos of the
police.
You can watch the videos of the protesters there kicking about, protesting, and then the French police showing up and firing tear gas into them, and then shit getting real and fucking Porsches getting fucking set on fire.
Parting the shite out of people. Or I seen one where they had a whole bunch of school children at school with fucking guns at their fucking heads, knelt down on the ground with their hands behind their heads.
I had to turn a video off because there was like 8 police on a guy in the street, literally jumping on his face.
Yeah.
Like, see, no matter what that guy done, that's police brutality, right? And do you know why the British government and do you know why the British media aren't properly following it and aren't telling you the reason why? Because they are fucking terrified right now that Britain will do the exact same thing. They're terrified of it. They're so fucking scared because we're so close to breaking point right now.
If they start showing that on the television here, it'll give people ideas, and they don't want to, obviously. Like, I mean, nobody really wants that. Like, I don't want to see riots on the streets, but however, I think there comes a point where it might be necessary, you know. And when is that point? You know what?
Maybe not so riots.
You know what I will say?
Retract that and say protests.
Protests, right? But you look at the French. You look at the French, and you look at the the workers' rights that they have there, you look at their healthcare system, you look at their social policies, okay? The French have a long history of revolution, and they do not stand for the bullshit that we fucking stand for in this country. So perhaps, you know, rather than the stereotypes that are propagated around here of, you know, the French being cheese-eating surrender monkeys and, you know, fucking Nazi collaborators and blah, 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 blah. The fucking French have far more fucking balls about them than the majority of fucking British people, who will complain till they're blue in the face to each other. But when it comes to actually standing up to authority, we are shite bags.
I kind of want, I mean, like, we're not allowed to play it because you're legally not allowed to. I want to play, like, see the coup guillotine, like, like, you should listen to that track, right? I mean, but genuinely, oh man, I seen the best bit of spray paint. It was like down with caviar, up with kebabs in French. Don't know what, man. It was quality. Like, the thing is, I'm no glamorising it by any manner of means, right? But it only takes fucking 4 weekends of protests that ended up getting violent, and now they are changing the taxation, and they're changing it, and they've had to come out, and the French government have had to accept that they're not willing to fucking, I mean, as long as it's not affecting their country, they don't give a shit. But suddenly when they have to shut down the Eiffel Tower because they're scared that people can't go there because of the riots, suddenly when people can't be kicking about and spending money in the shops, suddenly when the economy's taking a hit and travel's taking a hit, in 1 week it doesn't matter, in 2 weeks it starts becoming a problem, in 3 weeks then people are too scared to go, and in 4 weeks suddenly they're now talking about how they have to do something about it because they don't want this to happen anymore.
And it gets to the point that the police don't want to enforce the law anymore.
I mean, at some point there becomes, I mean, there's police, like in every profession, that are assholes. They want to go out and they want to hit people with sticks, right? That's what they want to do. But there's a solidarity as well. I mean, we've seen it here in the UK before, that eventually you get solidarity. Police aren't willing, people, they put down their bats, they put down their shields because they don't want to fight against the public anymore.
And because there's power in numbers. If the police are fighting against a minority of people, it's easier for them to justify. But if there's literally thousands and thousands of people on the street, and, you know, when they're off duty, they're talking to their friends about it, and their friends are saying, why are you beating up peaceful protesters? Why is this happening? Eventually, you know, you break it down. But it's all about numbers, man. It's all about numbers.
Welcome to Rise Up Cast, the podcast for starting a revolution.
I mean, this was not where we had planned to go on.
We just got a bit caught up in all that. But it's true. It's just it's where we are right now. That, like, if realistically, what we should be seeing, and we're not going to, but realistically, what we should be seeing is the workers in the UK showing solidarity with the workers in the French right now, and giving them fucking problems. Because
civil disobedience, man.
One country,
and that can be entirely peaceful.
It can be peaceful. I'm not saying.
Do you know what we could do tomorrow, Paul? This is an entirely peaceful protest that, if we wanted to organise, if there was enough people involved, we could go and do. And it has been done. Stuff like this has been done in the past. But we could go walk into a Starbucks store, right? Whatever town you're from, organise a whole bunch of your mates on a particular day. We all go into Starbucks and we fucking sit there and refuse to move until they start paying their fucking tax. What's going to happen?
Or even better, because they're avoiding more tax, Amazon. See an Amazon warehouse facility, go and fucking sit in it. I don't know if it's private property.
Yeah, but any kind of consumer company who are not paying their fair share of British tax, it's very easy to fucking protest that. We just need to be organised. People, we just need to be organised. So come to your Discord server and we can fucking figure out how we're going to do this.
So that'd be info@notanotherfakenewscast.com if you have any ideas or you're interested in getting involved.
Right, so moving on.
We should do like fucking Blue Peter badges for this shit, shouldn't we? Civil disobedience badge.
I did want to. No, I think we've covered all the Yellow Jacket stuff. Like, I mean, we've not in depth, but as much as we were going to.
Also, Yellow Jacket's the name of the baddie. Is the alter ego of Ant-Man. He's the name of the baddie in the movie, but he's the alter ego of Hank Pym.
Oh really? Aye, it was a baddie in the movie. Yeah.
But Yellow Jacket's the other.
It's actually in the Lego Avengers short, which is on Netflix, which is about 30 minutes long, which my son has watched about 100 times in the past fucking 2 months, so I've seen it on several occasions. Yellow Jacket plays a significant role in that as well.
Well, like I said, Yellow Jacket is Hank Pym. It's his alter ego that's not Ant-Man.
There you go.
But that same character also is a wife beater in the comics. He's not a great guy.
Alright, rubbish.
Man, not a great guy.
Boo, Hank Pym. So,
the creator of Pims.
that guy. I mean, I don't think I've ever drank a Pims in my entire life.
Have you know, like, with the mint and the cucumber and the strawberry? See,
I've made a bunch because I worked in bars, but I was never enough of a poncy prick to drink one.
So, sometimes I have quite a bougie existence, which sounds terrible when I've just told you to rise up against the fucking upper classes. But look, rise up against the upper classes as long as we all get to stop for Pims. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Like, once you start playing left-wing festivals that you can get crepes at, then you'll know. Then you'll know.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was Pims flying about the Byline Festival.
Man, absolutely, definitely. Great guys, lots of Pims.
So, okay, so we have a few things left to talk about, Paul. I guess the natural one to move on to would be the Caravan of Immigrants.
Nice.
Stand up, stand up, stand up. No, that's Caravan of Love. Sorry.
Caravan of Immigrants is a Monty Python sketch.
How many immigrants can you fit in a caravan? I don't know what the punchline is.
No, I'm pretty certain.
Pretty sure it was racist.
No, what punchline it is, it's going to be offensive to somebody. Yeah, I mean, this is relatively short. You're probably more than aware of it, but it's something when the disinformation that sat around for those who don't know, the caravan of immigrants that were moving their way up against through South America. If you had followed any news from the White House, you must have heard about it. They were coming. They were on their way. They literally knew for fucking ages.
And the whole way along they were singing, every woman, every man, join the caravan of immigrants, stand up. No, sorry, I've went into that again.
That's why there was such a vast number by the time that they got to the border.
It was like the Pied Piper. It's hard to knock that back. You know, when you hear a wee sing song.
Like a wee sing song in disco, just travelling through.
And you know how those Latin types are.
Is that disco? Just is it like
they love a party.
So
bring your kids.
Well, see, funny that
because we need human.
Bring your kids because that's the reason. So one of the things that came about, right? Actually, bring it back. I'll get to that in 2 seconds. Bring it back.
Can I get a rewind?
So one of the things that you would have thought logically, the American government knew they were coming. They fucking knew because they told us and they told everyone for fucking ages and ages.
It was a big talking point during the Senate and Congress, whatever.
When they done the vote?
The midterms.
Midterms, yeah.
That's the one.
And they were just working their way up like a Disney movie scene through. I imagine, a top-down map, and it was like anyway. So
Casey Junior's
coming kind of. Only immigrants.
Only walking.
Immigrants and walking. So they could have, in that massive amount of time, set down a lot of people who were able to work and process the people that were coming, work out who should be coming out of the country.
No, I wasn't sure where you could have said there a whole lot of people just take them out. I thought that's where you were
well, no, that's what they did do. So what they done was they could have sent down enough people to be able to deal with the influx of immigration that was there, because immigration happens there every fucking day, by the way. You know what I mean? This isn't just like Tuesday immigration day and all the fucking caravan showed up. You know what I mean? This happens every single day. So all they had was
it's a border.
Yes,
so an international border between two countries.
So all they had was influx of numbers at that one time, because all these refugees running from a fucking war zone were all getting there at the same time. So they could have just put up the numbers and been prepared for that.
Right? Were they running from a war zone? Like,
well, I did not.
Is the whole of South America a war zone?
No, but I mean they were running from. It started off, I believe, in Venezuela.
All right, okay.
And then I'm
like
guessing some
people coming from Honduras,
which
has the highest murder rate in the fucking.
I mean, that's also a fucking
America.
war zone, by the way. So we're clear. I mean, it's like there's like 120 people killed a day or something ungodly. Do you know what I mean? Some or 120 people per 1,000 killed a year or something like that. It was the numbers were absolutely devastating.
It was ridiculously high. I remember Honduras being very high on there.
I mean, disgustingly high. But yeah, so I mean, and obviously there's parts of Mexico at the present moment that are pretty shitty, and
Yeah.
and there's parts of Brazil at the present moment that are pretty shitty.
Brazil's gone to shit, yeah.
So with this caravan working its way up through South America, I can't guarantee all these people were from the same street or country even, do you know what I mean? But certainly they were all heading towards it, as they do every day, right? As they do every day. It was just a lot of them together.
I will admit a certain amount of ignorance on this subject. I've not done a lot of reading on it because we've had stuff going on, and this is one of the things that I've been reading up on a lot. But I will say my instinct is the idea of a caravan of like a big massive sort of conglomerate of people all banded together marching together towards the border seems disingenuous, and like it just reeks of misinformation to me. Perhaps it's correct, perhaps I'm totally wrong on that, but it just seems unlikely.
I mean, on the videos that I've seen, there was a reasonable number of people, but like no, like a football game's worth of people. Do you know what I mean?
And also, like, surely you
like
don't set off in Venezuela and go, right, let's walk to fucking Texas.
Oh, you don't do that from Honduras or anything. You would just be like walk across to like Argentina, or you know what I mean, like somewhere that's definitely within walking distance.
Yeah,
maybe Ecuador. Or, you know, other
Ecuador.
Other sad songs. That's exactly what I was trying to get out before you shouted that. I love the way at the start of this we were just like, well, we'll not be shouting like that. That'd be fucking stupid.
Yeah, we're just looking at levels in front of us.
Yes, back to the French. So
is that the same band?
It's the same band. That was Sash.
Fucking that's all they do is just a wee tune and then just shout something.
DJ Sash, Ecuador, Icona Foix, and
the Sash.
and the Sash dance remix. Let's never do this on our fucking podcast ever under any circumstances. So anyway, there did seem to be a relatively high number of people, but not like I say, it's not like a Fitbit stadium's worth of people. And that I mean a British, or more importantly a Scottish football stadium there. I don't mean like an American. American football.
People.
An American football stadium where there's like some ungodly amount, like 300,000 people or something like that. You know what I mean? Big, massive, stupid mega stadiums that they've got.
Is that big there?
No.
No,
but I'm sure it's something like I'm sure. See the Rose Bowl, is that not like 4 times the size of Parkhead or something like that?
Fuck
is it
off,
no
is
something? I'm sure it is some ungodly size of that.
I'll Google
check
it.
That.
Keep
anyway,
going.
so there was large numbers of people, and they could have just put in, you know, the right type of infrastructure to be able to process them, and you know, as they would be doing anyway. Instead, they kind of met them with tear gas.
All right.
You know, because they had wains. I'm really interested now what the seating capacity is in the Rose Bowl Stadium.
Why can't I see it? That's Rose Bowl game.
That's because you're not looking at the right thing, Jerry.
I apologise. Stadium, Rose Bowl. Here we go.
Oh, that's a good one. This makes fucking excellent radio. People are just like, I want to know now. I want to know.
But that's fucking. It's a third. No. It's half as big again as fucking Celtic Park, I think. So we're 60,000. It's 90,000. I'm trying to find it. I'm sure I saw it 2 minutes ago. Capacity, all seated, 90,888.
So it's only 1.5 times? Or like, it's just
150%.
Just that like 4 times bigger than Fir Park then?
Oh, fuck knows how big Fir Park is. Like, Fir Park, I think it's 20,000, yeah.
So Parkhead was a bad example because it's the bigger the stadiums. But anyway, to give you an idea, people, when we talk about football stadiums in Scotland, what we mean is if you're thinking an American football stadium, like a quarter that size. That's what I'm saying.
So like less than 20,000 people. Significantly less.
But that's what I mean. Like it's not like
1,000 people.
I mean, like they didn't even look that many. It looked like
100 people.
It looked. I didn't do a head count, but a couple of 100. I'd say like it didn't seem. To look at the videos, they didn't seem more than a few hundred people. Like, you know what I mean? Like any like couldn't they fill the Barrowland Ballroom at a gig? Is what I'm saying.
Did they have
children?
Camels? Because I imagine a caravan always has camels.
No, they didn't. Fags, camel fags. They were all smoking camel fags. Were
there any animals involved at all?
I don't believe it. None that I seen.
Not even a wee donkey.
No, All the donkeys are getting used for nativity plays at the moment.
I mean, to be honest, like if they were so cynical and craven that they were bringing children just for sympathy and to use as human shields and cannon fodder, I would definitely have recommended that they grabbed a couple of donkeys along the way, because everybody loves a donkey. There's donkey sanctuaries. People go mad for animals. Folk are always asking me for money in the street for like the SSPCA and shit.
The SSPCA?
Yeah, Scottish Society for the Protection of...
I thought that was the Nazi PCA.
Or for the prevention of cruelty to animals. Yeah. The but
like the Stormtroopers protection for cruelty animals.
Like I get annoyed when folk are asking me for money for cruelty animals.
Right. Jerry does not speak for the rest of the podcast, and anything that he says now is entirely his own opinion.
No, it's not that.
Just throwing in that fucking disclaimer there before we get fucking hate mail after Jerry just like, what the fuck do you hate animals for?
I don't hate animals.
That's what you just said.
No, it's not.
You said I'd kill a donkey. That's what I just said. Stab a donkey in the throat. You're fucking brutal, man. That's harsh.
Do not wish harm or any sort of discomfort or poor living conditions on any animals at all. I'm not saying that. That's not what I want.
You're not saying that?
No.
So you do wish it?
I would like all animals to have a nice life. That's definitely a moral standpoint of mine. However, I have prioritised in my charitable donations in life non-animal charities, which are for humans, because I think that humans suffer quite a lot, and I definitely
so non-animal charities are for humans.
Yeah.
I
definitely would
space
rather
charity.
I definitely would rather see
aliens
for Martians. This is maybe I should start the Royal Society for the
protection of Martians.
Prevention of cruelty to Martians. See how I got on.
SSPRC.
I mean, I imagine the Queen will have something to say about it straight away,
because you've added the Royal Society.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she does, just get her and just fucking get her.
What was your problem, Martians?
Fucking you and your Martians might have known.
That was Mars Attack.
I guess. I thought it was your impression of the Queen.
So this is descending into chaos.
Fucking, it's not even like for drunkenness descending into chaos. It's just descending into chaos.
So yeah. All I'm saying is, in my opinion, humans require charity before animals.
Right. All I'm saying is, so there's these people coming to the border at fucking America, right? Back
you
on
and
track.
your caravan,
right? Caravan, immigrants. It wasn't even a joke. It's just exactly what it is. But yeah, so one of the things that was going on the internet was people were just like, the reason that they brought kids is so they can ensure that they get into the country easier. Man, there's children in nappies being held against the bodies of their mother while American forces were firing tear gas at them, right? That's inhumane as fuck. That's, again, we'll bring it back. See if you were looking at that and you thought it was okay, then you're the same type of asshole that I was talking about earlier on regarding the waterboarding Syrian children.
No, but devil's advocate. No devil's advocate! Stop being cunts!
Hi, there is no, like, this is like one of those moments where the BBC are like, we had to get an expert on in gas and wains, right? Right? You don't need an expert.
Balance.
You don't need a balance there, right? See if there is a mother with 2 children in nappies standing at the border of Mexico getting tear gassed by American forces.
No, but Paul, they were saying why did you bring those children? Why did you make them walk with you for 3,000 miles? Why would you do that to your children?
Well, because the other option is MS-13 and the nastiest gang that exists in the world or thereabouts. And
why would you not just leave your children behind
just
in the war zone that you're fleeing from? Why would you not just do that? Because,
the slums, just
they're only your children, Paul.
And the thing is, it's just like they only brought children. Hey man, I have 2 kids. I have brought my children 2 places. Sometimes the shop that you can see from my fucking window.
And that journey is never fun.
Is a nightmare, right?
Nobody takes their children anywhere.
I have drove my children through France.
It's because you have to.
Not why. I have drove my children through France. And at no point did I think to myself, I'm glad they're talking about being second board. That's quality. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to this for the next 5 hours. Imagine that walking for hundreds and hundreds of miles.
I was driving back from Edinburgh yesterday, right? And my 18-month-old decided it was the most hilarious thing in the world to scream as loudly and as high pitchedly as he possibly could, right in my fucking
Still
ear.
don't think that's a real word, but-
I'm going for it. Right in my ear. Like, I'm not going to do it. It was
No,
awful.
please don't, because I'll have to then fix the sound
Fucking
editing in
awful,
this.
right? It was awful.
We've already got
right?
Ecuador for the fucking...
And my other child, who's 3, was, God bless him, trying to get me to stop by going, stop that, Evan, stop it. But every time he said that, the wee man just went, ha ha ha, and did it again. And like, there's nothing. So I'm trying to say, Connor, just ignore him and he'll stop doing it. No, Daddy, it's annoying. He needs to stop. And like, and at the same time, I'm trying to navigate my way out of a city centre. It was fucking horrendous.
Can we actually add an extra factor on that? Not just a city centre. Edinburgh City Centre. Edinburgh City Centre is the fucking road equivalent of seeing Harry Potter, right? See when they're walking up the stairs in Hogwarts and the stairs move while they're walking up the stairs and they may or may not go to the same streets anymore. That's what driving through Edinburgh is like. Doesn't matter how many times you've been there, they've probably redone the fucking road in a different way as you drive around it.
Now, I'm not suggesting that the caravan of migrants that have been working their way through South America have not suffered, but they've never had to do what I did yesterday.
Imagine having 2 screaming Waynes for a whole 200 or 300 mile walking journey.
Well, it's got to be more than that, though.
Well,
like, there's some of them have I heard the statistic yesterday that some of those people in that caravan have walked the width of the Atlantic to get to the American border.
From the bottom, essentially. I mean, like from the bottom of South America right up, some of them. But like I said, I'm just saying, even 200, 300 miles walking.
Oh yeah, that would
imagine that would be
plenty.
Nightmare. Like thousands of miles. No. No, I would just be like, I'd get a gun and join the fucking revolution in the country that I live in.
But if you had to do that or drive around Edinburgh,
Oh, you make a good point. I mean, I wouldn't even need to have kids in my car to make that decision, because I fucking hate driving about Edinburgh.
Right. No,
but yes,
sorry.
but in actual terms, so like what I mean is the things you have to remember here is the American government knew, they used it as a talking point, and what they could have done is put infrastructure in place to deal with what was fundamentally a small amount of people in the grand scheme of things, a small amount of people.
They could have been prepared to deal with it in a much more humane manner.
But instead, they forced the Mexican government to have armed police in the streets, and they also armed the US border. And those two things are fucking absolutely out of order. Out of order. There is no reason for it. Because if they were caught off guard on a fucking Tuesday because 1,000 people showed up at the border and they all wanted in, mobilise the troops because you don't know what's happening. But they fucking knew about this. They didn't even put proper things in place to try and bring aid and stuff before they got to the American border. They just used it as a talking point and as a scare tactic to get people worried. And by the time that they got there, they had the fucking justification from a reasonable percentage of the people in America that they were allowed to use force on children. And that's exactly the most dangerous part about fucking manipulated media. That by the time a group of fucking fleeing people from fucking slums, war zones and fucking gang-related violence have made it to the border, people have been so scared about a group of fucking old women in fucking Waynes showing up, that's children by the way, showing up at the border, that they're okay with force being used by 2 government forces.
Actual serious, right? I'm being entirely serious now, right? Devil's advocate with a massive pinch of salt, but assuming that those children were brought there for entirely nefarious purposes by their parents in order to be used as human shields, in order to be used as cannon fodder, in order to be used to garner sympathy, that still does not ever excuse doing anything in terms of violence or weaponry or poor treatment by police forces or military forces towards those children, because they are fucking children and they do not have a choice in that. If you believe that that has happened and that that is a justification, you're just wrong. You're just morally incorrect, because even if you believe that that's what has happened, which it fucking almost definitely has not, it still does not justify putting those children in the way of harm.
For me, as a moral person, if you actually believe that's what happened, then you should be more interested in those children being
In their welfare.
protected by your government that has the facilities and that has the capabilities. I mean, so we're clear.
But I mean, you're talking about the American government.
Exactly, no, but
It's
they
so-
definitely have the facilities. We've
they have
established
the
that.
money,
But
but
they've
like,
also got the facilities.
they've
I
got
don't know
no,
if you're aware,
they've got
they
no
keep-
interest in fucking social. Like
They've definitely got the facilities to keep Wayne's away from kids. We've established that this year.
Wayne's away from their parents. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I see the amount of money that the US military spent on fucking military. The US government spent on military this year. They could pretty much end the whole of fucking poverty in the whole of the US if they wanted to. 1 year. Fucking 10 times over. Do you know what I mean?
But they keep America safe.
Need to keep America safe. From the children that are coming off from fucking Southern, that's the closest time they've been invaded since fucking Pearl Harbor.
I would also, I mean, I can't imagine there's a lot of people who justify that situation listening to this right now, but just assuming that there are, put it like this.
I was just going to say, fuck off. Fuck off and stop listening to us. You
Fucking stop
horrible
listening to me.
bastard.
I never gave you permission to listen to me, you fucking prick. No, think it this way, right? If it was, think of the children that live in your street, right? You see them out playing about and stuff. You see their mums and dads. Maybe you don't like their mums and dads that much, but you know they're kids, right? Now imagine somebody rocked up into your street one day and started like throwing tear gas at them, battering them about, making their mums and dads have to run about the place. How would that make you feel? Would you be okay with that, or would you think that was a terrible fucking ordeal for a child to be put through? Those children who are experiencing that at the border are no different, right? If you think they are, you've allowed yourself to dehumanize other human beings. You have been fucking brainwashed by the fucking bile that you're reading to completely disengage and to paint other human beings as something less than human beings. And that's never okay. And we know where that fucking leads to in history.
Well, not only that, but see if you think that these people are coming up are in any way extremist or have nefarious mindset or are indoctrinating people. See, by persecuting people as fucking children, you're just adding to their fucking ranks. Because see if you fucking fire tear gas at children, those children will never forget that. And when they get told that they hate America, then they will hate America because they associate America with that time they were attacked with tear gas. And that stands for everything. See little Syrian boys that are getting fucking waterboarded in schools in the UK. See if you think that that's okay because you think that Syrians are coming over here with nefarious purposes. Well, see the chances that that little boy could become radicalised because he's been fucking tortured by people in the UK is substantially fucking higher. Substantially higher. Like you will not win, and you will not change mindset, and you will not be able to beat that type of radicalisation or those kind of nefarious mindsets if you are not willing to be human and no be an absolute cunt to these people. Don't know if that's the right term for it, but
I think it's about right.
So anyway, we got something else to talk about.
Yeah. So okay, so we've got a choice, Paul. Well, I'll give you the choice out loud, or
Yeah, you should give me the choice out loud because I think I know what one of them is.
right. So I have here the Theresa May refusing to talk to the National, and that ties into the Jim Acosta thing in the States. We have the Integrity Initiative. We have no-go zones, and we have magma shift in the seismic waves.
Right, magma shift and seismic waves is quite an easy one. It's just something that's interesting because I found out about it, and that's why it's interesting. No. So, but essentially, off the coast of Africa at the present moment, there's a new volcano that's rising up through the ground, and we're not really they think it's a new volcano, but essentially there was larger earthquakes than there has ever been before, like 5.7 magnitude at one point, and it actually made the whole earth ring like a bell. because the way it passed through it, they were able to hear it all the way over.
Resonate.
Well, yeah, you know, but specifically, I mean, the scientists have specifically described it as the whole Earth rang like a bell, because it was heard that much around the world. They were able to pick it up in Hawaii and stuff like that, and this has been happening for like the last year.
Bell, ring my bell.
Yes, there was like Blondie or whatever. Fucking just.
I don't know who sang that.
I mean, I say Blondie, but it's probably not, was it?
Well, keep talking.
Anyway,
I'll find it.
so essentially, what we've got is something really cool that's happening at the present moment, or worryingly terrifying, depends how you want to look at it. But we have a new volcano possibly rising. They're not sure if there was a magma chasm. Good word, isn't it?
Magma chasm?
A chasm.
I think I had one of them once. It was real intense.
It was decent.
I need a word.
Right. A chasm full of magma that might have drained on one go. That caused.
You're not making it sound less dirty as you explain this.
I know, but I don't really know how else to explain it. But anyway, so as it turns out,
draining my chasm of magma.
it's, I'm a chat lines now. I'm now raging. So if anybody wants to send us an email, anyway,
I've got a couple of tickets to magma shift in the seismic waves.
That's
come and drain my magma.
That's my new prog rock funk band. Looking forward to next year. We're going to be quite big, I believe, in Holland.
You're going to be like a new volcano.
So it's just like, when we're talking about things like stuff does get reported, like wildfires that are happening in California and mad weather events that are happening around the world. But
just rake it. Just rake the forest.
Just rake this fucking. That's your president. But people aren't talking about what is essentially something that's cool and something that's never been really properly recorded in the way that it's happening before, because they don't know what's happening. So scientists are doing a lot of guesswork, but there's earthquakes happening where there was no earthquakes before. We might be seeing a new island crop up.
But, right, actual devil's advocate. No, not really. No, actually, really. If you look like historically, obviously you've got situations like Krakatoa blowing up and sending ash clouds all over. You obviously had the
Yellowstone as well.
Yeah, and you've had new islands being created. You've had massive volcanic eruptions historically, like Vesuvius. You've had the thing in Iceland, which caused planes to be down for about a week and stuff, like in the last 10 years. So it's not unheard of for that level of volcanic activity and for new islands to be created or to be destroyed.
Except volcano scientists are saying this is unheard of.
Okay, yeah, like it's a greater scale, but having said that, that's within recorded history.
Yeah, but we're obviously within recorded history, but it's the thing. Like, I mean, we are now in a world where we can have drones and satellites and imagery, and we can actually.
But it doesn't necessarily, like Krakatoa could have been fucking magnitudes larger, because I don't think it was measured on the. Oh no!
I mean, mostly it would have been guesswork, I believe. Anyway, we don't know. Like, I don't think they had the Richter scale, but it's because of the way that it's been heard around the world. It's just fascinating. It's just a wee bit of lightheartedness amongst all of this. That there's something happening.
Lightheartedness. There's fucking massive magnitude volcanic activity
happening in the sea off the coast of
and maybe we're all going to die.
Well, no, you included. They all going to die, right? I was just saying that search this out and read it, because it's not been reported on. Like, actually, I found a Guardian article eventually about it that was just talking about it, and we'll link it up and stuff like
Maybe
that.
It's Tracy Island.
Well, weirdly, people were talking about how it could be like all sorts of other, like, I mean, you give a man enough rope, he's going to hang himself. You give a man enough information that there's something happening under the seabed, then it's Atlantis.
Oh, right, Atlantis. Cool. I wasn't sure if you were going to go Godzilla there.
Well, or Godzilla. I mean, it could also be Cthulhu.
All right, okay. Like, two of those things are entirely fictional, and the other one is also entirely fictional.
Two of those things are entirely fictional, and the other one is a great elder. That would be Cthulhu. I believe.
Oh, right,
elder
okay.
God, isn't it?
I've no idea, really.
Cthulhu, elder God. Like,
I don't really know.
Fucking squid face and that wings.
Yeah, I know he was. What do you call the author?
Put me in the spot now.
I know who he is. I know what it is. I've never read any of his work.
There's
Doesn't
people
really
I know that
interest me.
shout. Nah, near me. Anyway, so now let's actually go back to talking about something more depressing. What we got? Are you going to search for who wrote Cthulhu?
I'm just gonna put Cthulhu in, and I'll know as soon as I see it. H.P. Lovecraft, of
Edward
course.
Hubbard.
He's a good fiction writer. So magma shifting seismic waves, that's gone. So I think,
Fucking terrifying, that.
is that your phone?
Yes, just being a bit terrifying. Yep.
Put it on silent.
No, it was.
Are you looking for something?
Why?
Put it on silent though.
No, there was a video. It was the video that we were playing, the My Precious video.
Oh yeah. It's a good video.
We'll link it. Are we allowed to do it, Unilad?
Oh yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. We'll link that up to let you see it.
I can't remember. It was either Goat Boy Steve or Gav who posted it up in the Discord. Oh, welcome to our newest Patreon as well.
Yes. I've not been on the Discord in fucking ages. It could be anybody.
He's not been in the Discord, but it's Andrew McBay, Drew McBay. He bought a couple of leather keyrings, which are still available, by the way, if anyone wants a custom leather keyring.
They're also really nice.
They're really smart. A couple of guys won a competition for one recently, and I still haven't sent them out. I will do that tomorrow. Yeah, funny video. It's what do you call him? Andy Serkis being Gollum and Theresa May at the same time. It's good effort. No-go zones. I think that's what we should talk about. So there was a pretty good article by Bellingcat, who are fast becoming one of my favourite news sources for debunking and
Soros lover.
And like I love everything about them.
They're really good. They're really
open
good
source. Everything's open source, man. It's like totally fucking available. They do seminars to show folk how to use open source intelligence, how to find shit out, and they did amazing work, obviously, on the Skripal assassins, which, you know, I mean, ultimately, the thing that I find really impressive is that nobody in the mainstream media were prepared to put any amount of effort into fucking doing any of that shit when it's obviously there to be done and can be done. These dudes are doing this stuff.
Certain blog spots were quite happy to put out straight away that it had nothing to do with the Russians, though.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, a number of them. Well, we won't name names, but yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who believe that, but it's not true. So sorry about that. Anyway,
so one of the things that came up, the reason that we're actually touching this is because this comes up quite a lot in what we do. Very regularly, do you find yourself arguing with people who are incredibly uneducated on things regarding things? Usually, you find people who have never been to any fucking place that they're telling you about either, right? And essentially what happens is they will tell you that there is no-go zones in a place that they've never been to because a guy in a YouTube video who's also never been there has said that that's the case, because I can prove it with a totally out-of-context video of a guy being shouted at of a guy who's not the same colour as that guy. That's essentially it.
Yeah, and there's been some really prominent examples in like mainstream media, like Fox News have done pieces talking about Islamic no-go zones that are under Sharia law in Birmingham or in London. You know, we've heard about places in Germany which have no-go zones. We've heard about places in Sweden.
Yeah, classic Sweden no-go zones.
James Patrick done some excellent expose work on how untrue those were. So, I mean, there's great ways to debunk it. There's some really funny stuff that's been done by various journalists or just citizen journalists who've just been like, Tower Hamlets is a no-go zone. Okay, cool. Well, it's under Sharia law. I'm going to go down there with like a bunch of beers and like some pork, and I'm going to barbecue and drink beer and see if anyone stops me. And nobody did. They just had people joining them and having fun and posted it all on fucking Twitter, you know. So there's different ways of debunking it, but one of the major fake news tropes is put up maps which demonstrate where these no-go zones are, and this particular Bellingcat article kind of focused on London.
So that's Newham, Tower Hamlets, and Waltham Forest.
Was one of them. So it's a pretty big area.
So first and foremost, things that you should know. There's ballpark about 1 million people there. In 2011, there was like 930,000 or something like that effect. But that was 2011, so we've got about 1 million people. There's about 30% there are Muslim, which is the highest individual population of in any area of Muslims in the UK. So generally speaking, as a rule, about 10% of the UK population is Muslim, and these three areas in question, it's about 30% of the population is Muslim. So it's higher than UK average, but it's still fucking nobody. I mean, it's still 300,000 people to the 600,000 non-Muslims that are kicking about, essentially, give or take.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so I mean, straight away you have to explain that like over 500,000 people are non-Muslim and live in that area. I mean 2/3 of the people who are in that area essentially are non-Muslim. That doesn't even take into account any of the people who are commuting there for work. I mean, you need to remember that Tower Hamlets includes Canary Wharf, one of the biggest financial districts in the world.
Well, arguably the most important financial district in Europe.
Apart from probably it's like the city or whatever. I don't know. I don't actually know enough about geography.
See, as I understand it, Canary Wharf is essentially, from a financial point of view, is the city. Do you know what I mean? Essentially, that's where everyone. That's where all the banking. I mean, that's from. I have walked through Canary Wharf, going to offices when I worked in there.
Did you see any canaries?
Nope, and I didn't see Mr. Wharf.
Oh, that was my next question.
I was raging. He was defiant. That was clever because that was his ship in Deep Space Nine. But anyway, so I've been through it before. Like I've also stopped at the subway a couple of times when I was not feeling so brave to walk through the streets, because I was hanging.
Not because of no-go zones.
No,
not because of Sharia law.
No, it was much more to do with hanging over Paul.
I mean, I'll be honest with you.
I mean, I could absolutely get my way.
Looking at Paul right now, and Paul's not going to have any problem with Sharia law.
Because my beard is bitching you.
Paul looks Muslim a little bit.
Aye.
So, yeah. I mean, there's a whole load of ways to debunk this. Firstly, you've got the non-Muslim population. Secondly, every major religion is there. You've got actually hundreds of churches, synagogues, and various temples. Like every major religion in the world pretty much is represented within that area, and you can find that with a Google search. There's also lots of places that sell alcohol.
There's loads of people with licenses. I mean, I could apply for a license in the area right now. I mean, they would be asking all sorts of questions because
he doesn't live there.
Because I don't live there, but just out of principle, I could.
But it shows you where you can apply for a license in Waltham Forest in Newham. They've got Olympic venues there. The Tower of London, Tower of London's in Tower Hamlets.
Yeah, I mean that's actually why it's called Tower Hamlets. Otherwise, it would just be called Hamlets, and it'd be where the cigars were from.
Happiness is not living in Tower Hamlets, is my understanding. But yeah, and Canary Wharf has, as we said, a massive banking district, and the majority of the banking which has been carried out there is non-Sharia compliant. So,
for those unaware, you're not allowed to gain interest. Essentially, not allowed to gain money that you didn't earn in Sharia law.
You're not allowed to charge interest for loans in Sharia law.
You're not allowed to gain money for.
They still do Sharia compliant banking where they get interest for loans, but they do it because it's written, or the practice of it is fucking worked in such a way that it's not actually interest, but it totally.
Do you know what you never find? You never find a poor bank, so they find a way around that shit, right?
Yeah. So that's the first one. Second one is a brilliant notice from the City of London Police, which says, as of Saturday, June 2013.
So we had a date.
Yeah. So we know exactly when this occurred.
So Friday, 28th of June, was fucking grand.
Yeah.
For anybody that wasn't Muslim.
But at 12 o'clock...
Shit got real fast.
Yeah, like fucking... It made Cinderella
Shariah Batman just fucking dropped down for the fucking rooftops and battered people that were drinking.
Who was Shariah Batman's major arch enemy?
I'd probably imagine Tommy Robinson.
Yes, a Joker. So it says Tower Hamlets.
He's a pure penguin.
Tower Hamlets is officially outside of British law. Please keep out for your own safety, as we can't help you. And it says no-go zone across it. It says if you try to walk through, you will be arrested. And at the very bottom, there's a caption, which is a bit of a giveaway, which just says Islam is for cretins. So, you know.
I mean, so first, we have to break this down, right? So, the City of London police don't police Tower Hamlets.
They have no jurisdiction in that area.
And that would be the Metropolitan Police.
Correct.
The City of London police the City of London.
That's the clues in the name.
And it's about a mile and a half square.
About a mile square of London, yeah.
And it's just that bit, you know, in the middle where the rich folk live.
City of London
is an issue within its own right. We'll maybe do an episode at some point.
It's worth talking about, definitely.
We'll probably do an episode at some point. Essentially, it is like a city within a city.
Has its own police force,
rule sets and fucking
own mayor, own laws, own yeah.
And it's owned by, the actual land is owned by one or two particularly wealthy duchies. I think it's a duchies. I think I do.
We'll just keep.
Earl of Westminster is one of them, and there's somebody else, and they own like tons of the property, and they make lots and lots of money. Anyway, we'll talk about that in much greater detail another time. But the other beautiful thing, if you go beyond everything else, is Islam is for cretins. Now, in the off chance, right? So let's
imagine this was an official police document.
Let's paint the picture. So graphics designer Craig at the City of London Police has put together the flyer to tell people that as of a specific day they can't phone for help anymore.
All right, Sarge. Finish the poster.
And it's just like, right, we're going to post this out everywhere. So we're clear. You've done the poster, yes.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah, I've done it, Sarge.
And it's got the map on it. And it says,
yeah, it says no-go zone.
and it's
made it clear it's officially outside of British law.
Outside of British law, so the whole of Tower Hamlets now outside of British law as of the date. We've got the date in.
Yeah, 29th of June 2013.
And what tagline have we settled for?
Well, I went for Islam is for cretins. We were originally. I know I can see your face, but we had a talk around the station, and we were originally going to go with Islam is for cunts. But we thought, no, that's a bit strong, isn't it? So we rolled it back.
Sorry, Craig, here's your P45. You're not really what we're looking for in the City of London Police Department. Certainly not outward facing.
Fine, I'll just go and apply with the Metropolitan Police anyway.
They'll give you a fucking job.
You don't even have fucking jurisdiction in Tower Hamlets.
And scene. But that's essentially how that played out. But the thing is, there's fucking mutants that share this about the place. There's no other way to describe it.
That's genuine. Genuine.
I mean, like.
Have you seen what's happened in Tower Hamlets?
Man, I wouldn't even go to Tower Hamlets. You know, from the 29th of fucking June, it was a Saturday, and from that day, it's now outside British law. People believe that.
We've had numerous conversations about no-go zones online, and people do genuinely believe they exist. But interestingly, the people who you speak to that believe they exist have never been to the city in question.
I've been in a genuine argument before where I pointed out I have been to a place that someone said was a no-go zone for white people, and my reply was I had been there shopping a few times. I specifically went for certain products, and I was told, well, you can't just base it on your experience. No, but we can base it on a man on YouTube's experience who also hasn't been there. This is one of the most fucking retarded conversations I've ever had in my entire life. It is like at a certain level. Just realise it's not the best language to be using, but it's true though. Do you know what I mean? It is like one of the worst. I mean, let's go to another map, Jerry.
Yeah. So the next map is the acid attack map, which is essentially it's captioned up the top left. It says London's no-go zones where acid threat is at its worst, and
don't touch the acid, man.
It names Kentish Town, Camden Town, Islington, Stoke Newington, Hackney, Stratford, Plaistow, Bethnal Green, Shadwell, Canning Town, and Elephant and Castle, which I thought was a pub. But
Elephant and Castle sounds like the next movie from the story movie about White Castle.
Oh, Harold and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar, Harold and Kumar get burgers for Elephant and Castle.
So it actually turns out that this map was originally for The Sun. It was published in December 2017. And it actually related to moped drivers who had specific
taken
areas.
acid and just drove about in their favourite areas.
And they saw an elephant in a castle.
The fucking elephants and castles down there. I stayed away for that bit.
So, and there was a fucking green guy in Bethnal. They basically said that there were specific places that they didn't want to go after dark because there was a danger of caustic liquid attacks, basically, which are generally not acidic. So,
I mean, they might be acidic, but it's caustic liquids. I mean, like I don't know its pH balance.
well, I believe caustic means alkali, but I could
Does
be
it?
wrong. I think generally I think so.
I didn't know
could
that.
be
I
wrong.
didn't know
I could be
that.
wrong. I'll check. I might be completely wrong. So it originally or not originally. It has been appropriated by a number of different blogs. One called Creeping Sharia, and use it to imply that these areas are like Islamic no-go zones.
I am going to suggest that Creeping Sharia might be a biased website.
I mean, I've met some creepy guys in my time.
Not strong bases, particularly alkalis and not to acids, oxidizers, or other non-alkali corrosives.
So a wide spectrum.
No. So to strong bases, particularly alkalis, and not to acids, oxidizers,
okay,
or
right.
non-alkaline corrosives. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's an alkali, but it's essentially it will not be an acid if it's corrosive. There you go. See if it's a caustic. See if somebody throws caustic fluid in your face. Just be like, that wasn't acid.
You might think you just threw acid at me, but you're incorrect.
That's most definitely not an oxidizer.
My friend.
Yeah, I can't. And also,
So yeah. I mean, first of all, so yeah, we've now definitely demonstrated that they're not acid attacks, although that's what they're called by the press all the time. But there's also an interesting phenomenon.
Are they massive attack?
Yeah.
I can't even nearly make all the noise of the bottles. No. That would be a much easier one to try to do. I was trying to do fucking...
Fetus says singing a song.
No, I was trying to do the other one with the bottles and all that
Fearless
stuff.
on my... Yeah, I went for the easy one.
Nah, man, no, so I didn't have like 15 bottles. Anyway, so
sorry.
back to the caustic attacks.
That probably got to sound terrible.
Oh,
So
definitely.
Yeah. So interesting, like aside on this one is that there seems to be a bit of a myth perpetrated by the press at times that acid attacks are carried out by Islamic people or Muslims on a regular basis.
It's usually kind of suggested that it's been perpetrated by Muslim men in their kind of late teens, early 20s. I mean, that's what the picture is painted if you go on any of your standard right-wing racist websites.
Certainly non-whites.
Creeping Sharia,
But
for example.
it turns out the majority of perpetrators are either white or African Caribbean.
White Eastern European.
Whereas South Asians and Muslims are 3 times more likely to be victims than they are to be perpetrators of these kind of attacks.
So we're just saying that most of the time it's done by white Eastern Europeans or
African Caribbeans,
Caribbeans.
but not majority Muslim at all. And actually, you're far more likely to be the victim of one of these attacks if you're a Muslim than if you're a perpetrator.
But yeah, that's not what Tommy Robinson says.
Yeah, I know. Turns out Tommy Robinson isn't even sure what his name is, so maybe you shouldn't listen to him.
Luckily, he's not an expert in caustic liquid attacks.
No,
Only
but he is an expert in gang rape and
By the
advises
way, do you know
how
how
a
often
political party about gang rape.
do you know how often I want the soundbite that Tommy Robinson is an expert in gang rape? Like, I want that to exist. Feel free, anyone who wants to cut us saying that and just like get it out there on the internet.
Maybe put it in a dance track.
Oh, that'd be quality. Anyone, Gav.
I know there's a few folk. Yeah, there's a few folk who could work with music, man.
Definitely Gav. If I know somebody else,
Make that happen.
Kev, if you're listening, like if you want to remix into Tommy Robinson is an expert on gang rape, Dojo's coming up in a couple of months. I could probably get Daz to play it at Dojo in Glasgow.
There's very few things that would make me happier. So, yeah, it's a ridiculous fucking map. Like, if you just take a couple of them, like fucking the Angel Tube Station in Islington has like over 19 million entries and exits for the tube station every year. Camden Town has 22.5 million entries and exits too. So, you know, is that 22.5 million Islamic followers?
It seems unlikely because that's more Islamic people going through that station than there is people who are Islamic in the UK.
In the UK.
So that seems incredible. In fact, it's like 4 times as many nearly.
Yeah.
Because there's about 6 million.
Yeah.
So that'd be almost 4 times.
Not a ball here after.
So unless everyone who follows Islam goes into the train station, forgets their ticket, goes home, goes then back into the train station, goes through in the train, leaves work, forgets their bag, goes back and get their bag, and then goes through the station again. But that seems unlikely.
It does. It seems very unlikely. There's also, there's the fact that, as with pretty much every single one of these places, you can go on live traffic cams and look at these areas.
There's like tons of white people because
yeah,
there is.
Yeah, there's tons of every people.
Aye.
There's tons of everything. There's people just going about their day. There's people drinking. You can see people drinking outside pubs.
See people drinking.
You can see people drinking, motherfucker. I don't know what happened there, but yeah. So fucking, it just could happen. Hugo Guy, who was the guy who wrote the piece, tweeted to make it. He said the piece makes it clear that the areas mentioned are considered dangerous by delivery drivers late at night because of the risk of acid attacks. Any attempt to suggest that they are broader no-go zones which the wider public should never visit would be disingenuous. So that's the guy who published the fucking article.
That's the guy who published the article in the fucking Sun, right?
Yeah.
So to put this into perspective, the guy who writes for the fucking Sun is saying, nah, what you're trying to do there is a bit racist. Right?
You are fucking jumping the gun a bit there. Fucking wind your neck in.
Now, imagine if we had another map, Jerry, that this one included the busiest train station in like fucking London.
You mean Victoria Station?
Ah, the exclusion zone. Victoria.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, yeah, this one is it's an exclusion zone. I think this map appeared in the Daily Mail, and it was an exclusion zone around Buckingham Palace Road, Victoria Street if you can't spell, right near Westminster Cathedral.
I mean, it's in the street that walks by Westminster Cathedral.
Yeah, and it was a zone that was set up by the City of London Police, the Metropolitan Police, where they were asked to exclude homeless
shifting
people,
poor people. Essentially, they were given permissions to just ask them without any due cause to be removed from the area. I don't know if it says somewhere in the article, but is it no for something that was on?
A temporary police measure against street begging. It doesn't say what it was for, no. It just says that they had the temporary authority to ask someone begging in the street to move out of that zone.
Well,
it was
anyway,
reported in December 2013 by the Daily Mail, and that's where the map originated.
The sign tragically has Victoria spelt wrong twice, but spelt the same way twice. which meant the person who wrote it just didn't know how to spell Victoria.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't a typo.
But I mean, have you been? So the number of people that go through is 76 million people. That was between 2016 and 2017. But if you, like me, have flown into Gatwick Airport and you've got the tube thing, train, I don't know what they call it, the train connection, train.
It's the main entry and exit from Gatwick.
Yeah, it's the train. There's a down the stairs platform that takes you to there. I mean, and that's what it does. So, and Gatwick's like one of, if not the, well, I mean, it's probably the second busiest airport in the UK after Heathrow, or certainly within.
76 million people on that train platform is more than the entire population in the UK, but perhaps there's just fuck tons of Muslims coming in, and we do have to worry. It's
only 6 million Muslims, and what's happened is, for 10 times, they've forgotten their bag and their ticket, and they've fucked the numbers.
They're so forgetful.
That's what they say about Islam.
I wish they'd forget to rate people. Jokes.
Jesus.
Paul, I clearly don't mean that. Right. In context with the rest of that episode, it'll be fine. As long as somebody doesn't cut that out and make it a dance tune.
Now, there's another dance tune for you.
The last example is about Westminster no-go zones. And again, this originally came from the Daily Mail in 2017 during the Westminster attacks. The Westminster Bridge, like the guy who drove about the van and battered into people, etc. The Daily Mail published a map which demonstrated the zones which people had been excluded from temporarily while they were trying to get things under control.
Essentially, it actually covers all the places that you would imagine. It's the two major bridges, it's the Palace of Westminster, it's Downing Street. It's places that you weren't just allowed to fucking wander about just after there had been a terrorist attack, because you might be wanting to terrorist attack the area. Do you know what I mean? It's
when guys had been literally running over people and jumping out of vans and stabbing folk, they thought, we better lock this place down a wee bit.
So it's all the places along those bridges and along those streets that you would imagine, including actually the essentially one of the subway stations, or two of the subway stations as well. But that area, the area where, you know, the Queen stays, the Prime Minister kicks about, you know, all those politician lads, you know, the bits you would expect, and the two major bridges that cross over directly in front of them. That would be, actually don't know what the bottom is, Westminster Bridge and
Lambeth Bridge.
Of course,
I've never fucking heard it.
Lambeth and Butler Bridge. Where they sell the fags, isn't it?
Probably.
So we're clear, for American listeners, that's cigarettes.
Yeah, and they're called Lambert and Butler.
The joke was quality.
So yeah, like it's something that's been circulated around crazy right wing websites saying that these are no-go zones in Westminster.
But those no-go zones make no fucking sense. Like of all the ones that you could choose, see if you're stupid enough to look at this map and think to yourself, oh, places white people can't go, Downing Street and the Palace of Westminster. You're a fucking moron, right? Yeah. You're a cretin, right? At this point, you're the cretin.
Yeah, you deserve to be fucking fooled.
I'm going to ridicule you. See if I see you post these posters, I'm going to ridicule you.
But what's interesting as well is that, like, the majority of evidence that you will see for these no-go zones existing will be like circumstantial videos, perhaps. Like there's a few videos, one by like Sharia Patrol that was shared massively, in which I have seen presented to me as an argument that no-go zones exist in London. Look at this happening, right? And it's a bunch of youths kicking about,
three boys,
and like I believe the Tower Hamlets area, going up to individuals and, you know, various individuals doing various things which are non-compliant with Sharia law. So, oh mate, you're not allowed to drink in here, pour out your drink. Mate, don't be holding her hand, she's dressed inappropriately, you need to get out of here, this is a Sharia law area, blah 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 blah. And they show that with no context, because they show that video and they show, look, this is what's happening out there. This is what's happening when you've got a high concentration of Muslims and they're not integrating into society and blah, 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 blah. But what it fails to mention, what it neglects to mention, is that the individuals involved in filming that video and carrying out this harassment of the public all were prosecuted.
Aye, they get carted and then they get arrested and then they get prosecuted.
And they got put in jail. They got jail sentences for this stuff.
Aye, it's the same as that Ginger Jihadi.
Ginger Jihadi.
Well, he is bullyable. like tragic fellow. But I mean, he's another one who also got carted as well.
The Jihadi.
Aye. But Jerry, how could you say that about Londonistan? See if you see somebody that uses that, just delete them.
Yeah, and
if you see them say it in real life, just delete them from life. Just
again, we've had Fox News promoting these kind of ideas. You've had Trump promoting these kind of ideas as well. Like Trump spoke about this, and I think particularly in relation to the Mayor of London being a Muslim and stuff, has drawn a lot of attention to it too. Particularly some fantastic artwork by Mental Cases depicting Tommy Robinson in a fucking hangman's noose and whatever.
I look at that picture and I can't tell if it's pro or anti Tommy, because I look at it and it's just like, can't we stand and watch Tommy Robinson getting hung by the police? I'm like, I don't know if are we against this? What you saying here?
Because I've seen some hangable people in my time, and definitely Tommy.
He's certainly up there. Hopefully one day he'll just choose the wrong state.
So a couple of quick things we need to batter through. We've got Theresa May refusing to allow access to the National newspaper up in Scotland. The National, our good friends, the National, who recently featured Not Another Fake Newscast in their newspaper. There was a picture of his and everything. We story about this. It was a humbling and beautiful moment, and thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I mean, they're lovely.
So thanks. But Theresa May does not agree with this. Theresa May was like, well, if there's not another fake newscast boys are in your paper, then you can go take another fuck to yourself.
Yeah, a little known fact, we've had brief with Theresa for a while now, and she says that she's not going to be in any major press outlet that we're in, and we didn't tell the boys at the National that before it kicked off, because we didn't want to cause further fractures, but it all came to shit when they wanted to interview, and she was like, no, if you've had those lads who not another fake newscast on. I wish that was the case. That would be fucking amazing. See if it was, I reckon we could get on at least 3 more newspapers.
Yeah. No, so Theresa May was up in Scotland the week after the withdrawal bill announcement, and the details of that were out.
I see a Chinese proverb that says, if your Prime Minister appears in your town and nobody cares, does she even exist? Chinese proverb.
I mean, like, it's weird when Theresa May visits provincial towns in Scotland, because they have to bus Theresa May supporters in. We're not even making that up. Like, look it up. We'll provide sources. It happened. It has happened a couple of times now.
I mean, Theresa May.
Also, I loved the CNN report.
The boys
in Glasgow. They were like, what would you think about Theresa May? They were like swearing and all that. She can go fuck off.
Would you go and see her? Nah, I probably wouldn't.
But
to be honest, unless, and I'm not even joking when I say this, on the off chance she managed to hit a night that she bumped into like a group of people that were at like a lodge or something like that that were pro union and stuff, and pro Queen and country and stuff like that, and probably in some cases Tory voters, she might have she could get by. But if you choose pretty much anywhere, certainly in the west of Scotland, and you brought Theresa May there, she's not going to be popular.
We don't like Tories here, as a rule.
If you're not sure why, you should read our article in the National. It explains where we come from quite clearly. But
yeah, so she was up here in the aftermath of the withdrawal bill, for reasons best known to herself. Like, I don't really understand. She went on this mad campaign of like public appearances all around the country, completely neglecting the fact that it was the politicians in the House of Commons that she had to get to vote for this shit.
Aye, and nobody likes her up here anyway.
But no, I mean, it doesn't matter where she goes in the UK, whether they like her or not. Going to the public and saying, well, this is what I'm going to do, and them going, all right, cool, doesn't make any difference to the fact that the ERG aren't going to vote for her, the DUP aren't going to vote for her, Labour aren't going to vote for her, SNP aren't going to vote for her, Plaid Cymru aren't going to vote for her proposals. So it's just a fucking waste of time. Also, it was revealed in the Commons today, I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but she had paid money for Facebook ads promoting her withdrawal bill this week.
I seen someone post on my Facebook that it was a sad state of affairs. Was my younger cousin up in Aberdeen who'd spotted it. He said it's a sad state of affairs when politics are now advertising to you on Facebook, and he took a screenshot of the pro-Brexit advert that
You
was
need to send that my way, because I
sent to him.
funnily enough, Facebook's
Facebook
algorithm did not decide to show me that.
Weirdly enough, I didn't get shown it either.
So she was up here, and there was a press conference which featured all of the nation's media. They were all invited and allowed to come and question her and discuss her withdrawal deal. But the only outlet which were excluded was the National of Scotland. So
now let's see. Do we have a reference point to something very similar like this happening recently?
well, we certainly have Trump throwing Jim Acosta out and removing his press credentials for attending White House press conferences because he asked him a difficult question.
How day is it?
What's your name?
What's
Donald Trump. Ah, fuck.
What's your Twitter password?
Is that your real hair? No, I mean, yes!
What one? I was going to make a horrible joke about how he'd shag his daughter, but I'm like, this.
I was actually, that's where I was going.
That's exactly where I was going. Like,
Should rather
like
fuck Melania or Ivanka?
I was going to take a picture of his wife and a picture of his daughter. Like, well, why would you shag? He's like,
Shag, marry, avoid. Oh, shag Ivanka.
Avoid that one.
Avoid Melania. Marry my ego.
His ego would chuck him. But aye, so I mean, obviously, so we've seen this with Acosta, right?
Acora.
David Acosta.
Derek Acora.
Aye, fucking, there's ghosts in the White House. That's my impression of him. It's not a great impression.
Is he not a Scouser?
Well, he definitely isn't from Glasgow. So that wasn't a good. Anyway, the weird thing about Acosta is the media all rallied round him.
Yes, including Fox News.
Especially Fox News. I mean, I actually don't know how the position works. The chief executive, the managing director, I don't know what it falls under because I don't actually know their structure as a company. But essentially, the not Murdoch person in charge, you know what I mean, made it clear that they would stand from the media side of things.
They made a public statement
that they would stand alongside Acosta because there's no. Essentially, a president shouldn't be able to stand up and perverse the media. We would be able to stop the media from reporting or asking hard questions because that's essentially
a
their
slippery
job.
Fucking slope.
Yeah, it is, and obviously, and the same media outlets stood with the National over here, again owned by Rupert Murdoch. Now,
Fox News.
Well, Rupert Murdoch's
No, but
Times
certainly
ish, is it?
every time. Well, he owns a lot. Yeah, Times.
But I mean, essentially, his media
Times
group
Sun.
also stood with the National. Now, on a normal day, they have very different stances with lots of things. But in both cases, the fact that even Rupert Murdoch, who is the figurehead of media evil, but more importantly, he is in the pocket, or he has in the pocket, in his pockets, both Trump and the Tories. Do you know what I mean? They all work for, sometimes you can sound like a mad conspiracy nut, but Rupert Murdoch has access to the Prime Minister when he wants it. We know this, it's been proven before, and he has access to the President when he wants it. I mean, I think probably anybody does. He just has to throw a bundle of money on a fishing rod at the front of the White House. But he does have access to.
A bit of fanning.
Aye. bit of money, fanny wrapped in money. My favourite things. Bigly things. But yeah, so he's he is the establishment. He is the man, but his companies are still standing up against this because
I think the biggest illustration of it in terms of the National was like Sky News paper review. Like they put it up on the screen and they discussed it. They were massively in defence of the National, were giving Theresa May a hard time for not allowing them into the press conference. And I mean, it is a ridiculous state of affairs. Like, you're a press outlet which is likely to be critical of me and which does not line up with my political views. So I'm not going to let you interview me, ask me questions, or interact with me. That is proper Pravda Soviet fucking dictatorship stuff.
Well, I mean, it is. It's essentially fascist. It's fascist on both sides of the spectrum. Like we've seen and throughout history, both far left and far right fascists do that.
But they would be obviously on the right, particularly critical of that sort of behaviour coming from the left, and they're aping that kind of behaviour. Both Trump and Theresa May. Now we know, you and me, Paul, that's authoritarian behaviour. It doesn't matter whether it's left wing or right wing.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, this is one of the things that we get into an argument all the time, that authoritarian does not matter if you're left or right. I mean, to give you the best example, if you ever have to get into any kind of argument with anybody, Hitler, he was authoritarian. Stalin, he was authoritarian. Voted him, vastly different political views.
Yeah.
But they were both authoritarian, and both of them are great examples. Mussolini as well. All three of them are great examples of
getting the trains running on time.
Getting the trains running on time and controlling what media is going out to the people.
Yes.
I mean, granted, they got a lot more fucking stabby with the journalists that they didn't like, or a bit gulaggy or whatever with the journalists they didn't like.
Kelly, what you mean like Putin and what Mohammed bin Salman?
Well, exactly. What you mean like our boy that doesn't exist anymore because he got bone
Jamal
sawed.
Khashoggi?
Aye, because he got bone sawed, and somebody says
By the Saudi government.
11 of them showed up on a plane with a bone saw. That wasn't an accident. You don't accidentally bone saw a man. Or you don't accidentally carry your bone saw. You
don't accidentally send a jet full of people to kill someone or torture them and accidentally kill them.
And then let them... No, you don't accidentally kill anyone when you have your bone saw.
Did you also see MBS and Putin? They're greeting to each other at the G20.
Aye.
Proper high five, hey!
Hey! My fascist brother!
Hey.
Yeah!
Killed down a journalist recently, you know it! You know it!
You ain't going, what are you doing tonight? You ain't going to strangle a hooker and kill a journalist. Yeah, that's what I was going to do anyway.
What about a hooker journalist? They're my favourite.
Most of them seem to work for the media in the UK at the present moment.
So it's there's a bit of weirdness going on. It's obviously great to see a bit of solidarity in the journalistic community. Obviously,
it speaks volumes. Actually,
self-preservation.
I would say it speaks volumes though, because I could easily have argued a case a few months ago where I wouldn't believe that journalists would stand together because of pushing agendas and because of
the divisive nature of our discourse.
Aye. But it turns out that when push comes to shove, there is still people at the top.
Lines.
There's still people at the top who have enough integrity that they understand that even if your stances are so fucking different, you still have to have the right to have your stance. And when that gets stripped away, you then live in authoritarian Germany or fucking Russia. Do you know what I mean? You're in a scenario where the media is controlled by the state, and you can't have that.
What would be nice would be if they would question how it's got to that, how it's got to the point where politicians feel empowered enough to make those calls, because there's definitely an argument in the US that Fox News have had a massive influence in pushing Trump to the point that he believes he has the power to do that.
There's absolutely no way that Theresa. I mean, fucking this. I just would make something up because I don't know this, but I would be certain that there's absolutely no way that Theresa May expected Murdoch's press crowd, if anyone else, but certainly not them, to stand up against the decision that she made about the National. There's just no way she expected it to happen. And by the same, there's no way that Trump thought that Fox would take this idea across either.
I completely agree. However, I would say there's a lot more political opportunism in the Sky News, like Murdoch position in the UK than there was in the US. I think in the US it was a self-preservation thing. Oh, yeah. Like, we can't allow this to happen because what's the next step, and what happens if someone else is in power?
Clinton became president next, I mean, I'm not saying that she's got any, but if Clinton became president next, she's just like, Fox News can get the fuck, I'm not talking to them.
It sets a bad precedent. I think in the UK, because the National is fairly provincial, shall we say, like they only are selling to the Scottish market, I think that, you know, the Murdoch Empire could have easily gotten away with not calling Theresa May out on that, and in a different political environment they might have chosen not to, but it came at a time where they were not happy with her stance on Brexit and various other things, and it was an opportunity to attack
stick the
her.
boot in. Yeah, it was just a chance to stick the boot in. I mean,
stick the boot in the boot.
I mean, I don't know if I fully agree with that, but I see where you're coming from. Like, I would say there's probably more. You want to still be on the same side as the National, because the National has a whole shitload of sway in Scotland that Murdoch will not have ever in Scotland, because you just can't get the same type.
But he's never gonna have, like, he's never gonna have support by the people who are buying the National.
No, but as long as he has support by the people who own the National, because they've shown solidarity with him, these things help moving forward when you decide you're going to fucking buy them out.
Or recruit from them.
Or recruit from them, yes. Can you imagine that ever happening?
I kind of could. So I think that's probably us for the evening. Would you think?
I'd imagine so. You know, it's only a wee cheeky just over 2 hours. So we went for them just for Christmas.
It says 2.5. That's not bad.
I know, but we'll probably get about 20 minutes of talking shite before it, don't we? Or do we not just jump straight in?
Yeah.
You might get 2.5 hours.
Not a bad wee episode. Like, considering we didn't have a lot of time to do a lot of research, and considering everything else that's been going on, we just wanted to give you something because it does matter to us, obviously, and you know, we appreciate your support a lot.
Oh, support matters. Hashtag.
So yeah, like we're excited about hitting you up with some fucking seriously good crack in the new year, and I guess, Paul,
mostly because in the new year I'm going to become a crack dealer.
I guess as per last January, we'll have to do a 2018 review, right?
Oh, Jesus. Aye, we will.
I'm quite looking forward to that, because that was a good episode last time round.
Aye, we'll get fucking hammered, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a Friday night episode if ever there was one.
So yeah, thanks to everybody that's been in touch with us recently. Thanks to all the folk in the Discord. Thanks to all the folk who interact with us on social media.
Buy underwear off Project Lingerie, because the person who owns them is lovely. She's really nice. That's the only reason I want you to do it. Like, we don't even get like a kickback or anything for this. That's not even why I'm trying to do it. It's just because she's genuinely a nice person. She deserves the business.
And also, I tried her underwear and it caresses your balls like a very considerate lover.
There you go then.
That's their tagline.
That's really not.
If it is, it should be.
It shouldn't. It should really should. I mean, it's sexy underwear for your other half or yourself if you're that way inclined, or sexy boxers if you find boxers sexy.
Okay, well, it caresses your balls like you would, and you are, as we all know, a very considerate lover to yourself.
It's the worst sign off I think I've
That's the
ever had.
creepiest thing I've ever said.
Oh my lord, I might cut that out.
So no, don't do that. So good interviews, brilliant deep dives, and some fun roundups coming up in 2019. Thank you for listening to us in 2018, and thank you for all the
being
cool
beautiful and all that. And also, more importantly, thanks for all the interaction on social media, because it makes us feel fucking special.
shit. And we will interact even more with you in 2019.
And email us, info@notanotherfakenewscast.com. If you start emailing us, we'll read your fucking emails out, as long as they're not racist or offensive.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Anybody who has anything that they would like us to address in the show, just send us with a subject matter in the show.
We'll fucking mailbag it.
Subject in the show, and we'll start reading out like viewers' questions and stuff like that, listeners' questions, because you can't watch us. And although,
we've got that coming next year. We're
Yeah.
going to live stream stuff. I say live stream. It'll not be live because sometimes
We're
we have to
offensive as
cut
fuck.
things out, right? And
see if you think we're
sometimes-
offensive when you're listening to us. This is the stuff that we edited in.
you know when you hear it and you think Paul swears a lot. This is with the swearing. I get to edit the swearing out. I edit the swearing away.
So you're not saying, think that joke was a bit close to the bone, or that joke was a bit fucking harsh. That's the stuff that we left in.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Well, nah. The good stuff's the stuff we edit out.
Aye.
It's the stuff that really, see when we really laugh, that's when we know it shouldn't be allowed.
Aye,
in the
that's
show.
when we know we have to pause it, flag it, and get rid of it. And there's been once or twice where but you'll get to see that live. And please don't share it.
Yeah, so, thanks, man, and happy Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all, and a wonderful new year.
Happy winter holidays.
Happy Winterfest. Make sure that you print out your life-size versions of UKIP members and throw frozen shit at them.
I wonder if
With Bucky slushies on the side.
we should do a t-shirt with like the cutout serum on it.
And little brown balls getting thrown their way.
Get Gigi on that. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, so
Yeah, thanks very much, guys.
peace out.